Welcome back to the party, everybody. I thought Morty was going to join us, but I am your host, Lutch, a.k.a. TheIndianJesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, guys, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never miss an IndianJesus live party ever again. Let's also, oh, is he coming back? Nope, not coming back. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The IndianJesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. Welcome to the party. We got Zippy early to the party. Welcome. So we got an interesting show for you guys today. We don't often get to talk about the one, the only Nick Fuentes. I'm still not really sure of what I think about Nick Fuentes, because I know he's like out there, but I've really only ever seen him in a context that I don't necessarily think is the best for anyone to be judged. Like I've seen clips where he was talking to Destiny. I've seen clips where he was with Pearl and all that stuff. But here he is on Soscast with the Valuetainment crew, or not the Valuetainment crew, but Adam Sosnick for the Valuetainment money. And there's a bunch of other people who I wasn't too familiar with. There was one guy, Michael Sartain or something, also on the panel, but basically I skipped over the beginning part where they're kind of introducing stuff, and anything that we missed gets brought back around. So without further ado, let's dive right in. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
As one example,
Nick says that a woman like you should have just, after high school, focused on being a mother. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. You're 30.
yeah.
You're accomplished. You went to college. You're gorgeous.
Thank
you're
you.
smart. You're intelligent.
Thank
you're going to make a great wife someday. Nick believes it should have been sooner rather than later, but you're on your own time frame. Why is Nick wrong that you're actually a happy, healthy, beautiful person and you're living your
I'm just going to
your
move this
life
chair.
that
It's
you
going to
wanna
bother
live?
me.
Yeah. Well, first talk about just briefly, my grandmother never made it past third grade. She came from Guatemala, and for her, the fact that she could never learn and even read or write to a substantial amount was really personal to her, because with education that provided freedom. Education is something that can never be taken away from you.
This is your
Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. How you doing, brother?
mother or your grandmother?
My grandmother.
Okay.
And
what about your mother?
For her, her, it was so important that her children were educated, because she knew that education equaled freedom. It meant that something could never take that away from you, man or woman.
True.
And so when my mom and my grandmother came from Guatemala to the United States, my mother worked 3 jobs to come here, learned English at night, to be educated, to be a woman of worth. And
To who?
that really mattered. She ended up being a teacher, and really being able to be somebody. And, I find that really offensive that you don't believe that women should
Oh, come on. Really?
have the education or the freedom, because there are a lot of women who would do anything to be able to read a book. And you laugh, but it's...
I do too. There's women who would do anything to be able to read a book. I mean, sure. I understand that there's countries where women are not allowed to do a lot of things. But in those countries, I'm kind of thinking, some of the more basic freedoms are going to be top of the list. But just caught me weird.
It's sad.
Women can't read? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that there are some women in some countries that can't read. And when
Nobody's
you undermine...
saying they shouldn't have literacy.
Well,
but it's a question of, should they have secondary education? Should they pursue a degree? And when you say education is freedom, I went to school for 2 semesters before I dropped out.
Wow.
I went to school with a girl who borrowed her entire tuition for 4 years, getting an IR degree, $200,000 in debt.
I don't know how to tell you this, Nick, but that's not that surprising. A lot of people do that. And I went to I was lucky enough to be born into a family where, my dad came, similar to this girl, my dad and my mom came to this country with barely anything. Luckily, he, had a doctorate, but he still had to work from the bottom of society and worked his way up. And because he wanted to be able to send his children to school. And so I got to go to college with zero debt. And it wasn't really it wasn't really until close to graduation where, the talks of having these loans and what are we going to do with this after college? It didn't really hit me how lucky I really, really was to be able to just get this education and be out in the world with $0, but not with negative $20,000. So a huge thing there. But I don't remember where I was going with that. But let me back this up. I'm retarded. Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah. But yeah, people would. It was a private school, and people were borrowing their entire tuition there. I'm like, why are you not going to a community college? You're borrowing not only the money for a public school, but a private school, not even a state school. Insane. And I mean, at that time, it was like what, 40 grand a year? Insane.
4 years, getting an IR degree, $200,000 in debt for an IR degree, for a liberal arts degree. Is that freedom? Buying a lot of freedom?
But Nick, isn't that anecdotal? Because I know a ton of dudes in student loan debt as well. They're doing nothing with their life.
It's an example.
Yeah.
It's an example.
No, I know, but
the point
one
is,
good example.
But you agree,
but
though.
There's millions of guys and girls with useless degrees.
Don't they have the freedom to make the mistake? I mean, I think that is part of the American way. They have the freedom to make the mistake.
Yeah, and nobody.
Yeah, so this all started with, obviously, if you're not at all familiar with Nick Fuentes, he's a Catholic, what does he call himself? A Catholic nationalist or Christian nationalist, something. Basically, he's a white nationalist, but he cloaks it in Catholicism. And they were kind of just going around and what do you do for work and how old are you, the boring stuff. But it did come up that Nick thinks that women shouldn't vote. And that they should not be able to go to any higher learning beyond high school. Now, he also did say that he doesn't really think it's a smart idea for most people to go to higher education after high school, but that women shouldn't even be allowed. Shout out to Daniel. Welcome to the party. Checking in with Nick Fuentes and seeing what is he up to. Welcome to the party.
Nobody's saying nobody has the freedom to go to college or something like that. But the point is, on the statement specifically that education equals freedom, I don't necessarily buy that getting a college degree is the ticket that it used to be. So everyone needs to go to college to get freedom.
I agree with that, but then
Yeah.
why are you saying that women in particular shouldn't go to college and they should be? Look, no. Let me explain. I think also too.
Wait. You can't say, why do you think this? Let me explain.
What?
That women can have it all. And I think this construct of you have to choose this career, you have to choose to be going to college over having a family. I'd love to have a family one day. I'd love to be married.
Well, you should have thought of that before you hit the wall.
Someday. And I think you can have it all. And I don't think that you have to choose between this lifestyle of either or.
Nick, why do you say that women can't have it all? And then I'm going to come to you, Amy, and then I'm going to come to you, Nima.
Hey, we got David Banner in the building. Welcome to the party. He said Fuentes is a roach. Yeah, I mean, he is not a nice guy. But as we love to do on this channel, we want to make sure that we are checking in and keeping up with people who we disagree with so that we understand what ideas are out there. Welcome to the party, brother. Zippy said nationalism means everything is for the state. It's warped patriotism. I didn't think about that. That's an interesting way to think of it. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Nima, I promise.
You can't have it all because the clock's ticking. And, you're 30. And I don't mean it to get personal, but of course, women, there's an age after which they can't have kids. There's an age after which it's much more difficult for them to have kids. That's just biology.
I've been out of college for 10 years.
I let you finish. I know you want to rip my face off, but I let you finish. And so the point is that when women go to college full-time or they have a full-time job, they can't be a mother because a mother is a full-time job. So that means that if they are having kids, guess who's not around for 8 hours during the day? Where do they?
Yeah, so Zippy's saying that higher education is not for everyone, and I completely agree with that. Zippy before that was saying broken clock. And we all know that as long as it has arms, that a broken clock is right twice a day. And again, it's important to understand what is the core of why people want to follow Nick in the first place. There has to be something that at least they see as, okay, this is a reasonable position. Where is that core? There has to be something. People like this don't get this much attention for nothing. There's so many people vying for your attention, but right now, all of us are watching him. Why? That is what I really want to dive into. I want to post it. Sheesh. Even men rarely get to have it. Yeah, of course, men never get to have it all. That's feminism speaking. Yeah, I really think that, you know, at 37, I can do it all. I'll have a full-time job and be a full-time mom and get pregnant again. And no, probably not. I mean, maybe, but probably not. So he says his clock has one arm. All right, so we'll call Nick the broken one-armed clock.
They put the baby for 8 hours during the day. Do they just stuff them in a box somewhere? Got to send them to daycare. Somebody has to take care of the kids. Just because you're the one that's not doing it doesn't mean it's not a full-time job. So no, you cannot have it all without making sacrifices. And the problem is working women will have a kid. They'll prioritize their career. This is what happens in many cases.
Before he goes on, I actually want to put a disclaimer because I can find myself, I'm sure that based on who he's talking to, I know there's going to be a lot of things that Nick Fuentes says in this stream that I'm going to agree with. However, and I do mean how, and then ever, I am not standing for Nick Fuentes. I'm not a fan of Nick Fuentes. I don't like Nick Fuentes. I don't think he's a good person, but I think there is enough influence and he's intelligent enough that people follow him. So I care about that. That is what we are doing. So no, we are not here platforming Nick Fuentes because we think he's miss me with that BS. Miss me. Martian Overlord, welcome to the party. So the only people who have it all have large bank accounts and high elected positions. People are unrealistic about how the world operates. Bingo. Exactly right. Welcome to the party, brother. So he said having it all, education and job / career and some parenting. Yeah, it's you can't have it all. There's just too much.
And who is the one who is forced to pay the price? Who for this sacrifice in time?
Child.
It's the kid. It's the kid that doesn't have the mother for those 8 hours a day when their mom's at work. It's the kid who mom can't go to the game. Mom can't pick you up when you're sick from school. Mom can't do X, Y, and Z. So actually, we have a short life. We have to make decisions in time. Nobody can have everything of everything. Nobody can have it all. We have to make decisions, which means sacrifice. And the problem that is going on, if women want to work their whole life and never have kids, I don't think that's good for them. I don't think that's fulfilling. But worse still is you have women that are promiscuous, which is a mortal sin. They'll wind up having kids, often become a single mom. And even if they're not, the kids wind up in daycare. And the point is it's just a very selfish lifestyle.
Facts. It is selfish. It's because I want it all. And so he says men do have it all in that context, though. What are you talking about? The only men that have it all earn it all. Has she earned the right to have the job that she wants and also be with somebody who has the job that wants a mother who stays at home? That's all. You can't have all if that's what they mean when they say have it all. When men say we want to have it all, really all we want to do is a little bit of respect and a warm dinner after work, a job that we don't hate, and a peaceful home. Is that too much? That's not the same thing as having it all in women's terms. I wanted to post said, I like that Nick got pearly things to reveal her grifting. I mean, again, she definitely is a grifter, but in that moment, there's a specific reason why I didn't cover that because I don't think that was very revealing at all. I just think it was a dumb girl saying dumb things. Now, it happened to be of the racial variety, but I don't necessarily think that she's a racist. I just think that she's stupid. And the fact that he's racist, it put it in that context. And so I think that was too much, especially at the time. That was way too much of a nuanced of a look at that to be able to say that with people not, flipping out. So I was like, I'm letting that one pass. But yeah, she definitely needed something to get a chink in that armor. So we said, so one parent needs to be the breadwinner, even if that's a choice. Yep. Yeah, has to be that way.
people should put their family first.
Amy,
That's the most important
Let me
job.
ask Amy, because Amy's been quiet, and Nima, I'll come to you, and then everyone, believe me, everyone's going to get tons of time to talk. I guarantee you.
We also do have our running poll right now. Replay gang, let me know what you think in the comments. Does Nick Fuentes have legitimate points that are worth taking seriously? We have yes, no, or I don't know who he is. Right now, we're sitting at a third of you don't even know who he is, and 50% say yes. So let that say what it does. Welcome to the party. Said, as a stay-at-home dad, life is good taking care of the kids and house. I mean, yeah, that's the dream, right? Shout out to you. Welcome, Opus. How are you doing, brother? Welcome to the party. Zippy said, if she's not trying to earn it, then she won't have it. My point for having it all is not an absolute. You have to have some moderate education, some career and job, some parenting to a kid, some this and some that. Yeah, but that's not all. That's the compromise. You can't have it all. Martian Overlord says, the population is high enough that we don't need so many children born. We need single people innovating and having non-sexual intercourse. Unfortunately, that's not true either. We are both in the position where we have too many people on this earth, and we don't have enough people to repopulate the people that we have. Both of those things are happening at the same time. So let's say the population is going to get up to 10 billion. Now we have an infrastructure that is made for 10 billion people. Then if only 8 billion people are born after that, then there's an infrastructure that's missing 2 billion people. That's 20% of the population that's just not replaced. So while simultaneously, that's what the whole thing about each family having 2.5 kids as a replacement rate to make sure that the population doesn't get too high, but the population also doesn't get too low based on where it already is. It's a mess, guys. So absolutely, we need kids born. We just need kids born into the proper conditions. We don't need kids born that are going to be to single mothers. We don't need kids born that are going to be abandoned. We don't need kids born who are not going to be cared for and to make society worse. But absolutely do people need to have children. Zippy said the feminists will spin it out of context. That's their job. That is their job. Population matters are dumb. Focus on the individuals. Fair enough. I like that.
You're saying that in regards to women working, did you go to college, Amy?
Yeah, I have my associates in justice and legal. I dropped out. But I agree with you to some degree, but I don't think anyone can really have it all. It's only the top 1%, someone exceptional in any field to really have it all. So yes, you can, but will everybody? No, it's unlikely. So I understand both sides of the argument. I think if a woman really wants to do it and she can make that happen, but you're absolutely correct. That is not going to come without sacrifice. And I don't think you can put 100% into both things. You can be all in on something, but like you can be all in on multiple things, but that means that one thing at a time, you have to be giving 100% of your focus to that thing. So that is going to...
Shout out to Dietrich. Welcome to the party. Said, growing up, if we don't have a reason to hate our fathers, our friends who do find a way to convince us that's how a liberal agenda gets its wings. Yeah, I mean, the family unit is so important. It cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. Well said, Beatrix. Welcome to the party.
It's going to be time away from your children. That is going to have some type of an impact on them. So I think that this is something to certainly keep in mind when we are trying to talk about the traditional values that we want to reinstill in society, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to legislate it or anything like that, which you said. You never even said that in the first place.
Are you like, what are you doing to sort of reinforce? You're 28, smart, attractive. You guys are the same people. Smart, attractive, late 20s, early 30s, no man, no kids, tons of people in your DMs. Here's Nick. Who's basically like, I mean, if you could sum up in one sentence your advice for them, what would it be?
Don't go to school, have kids. Stop having sex, have kids with your husband.
Okay. Wait. Nick, I have another little chink in the armor there for you. You can have kids if you stop having sex. I think what he meant to say is stop having, extramarital sex. But come on, B, you got to be a little bit tighter with that.
I mean,
and you mentioned that being promiscuous is a mortal sin.
Yeah.
Is that sex before marriage?
Yeah.
So what happens then?
Go to hell.
So they're going to hell.
They don't repent. Yeah.
So all they have to do is do what?
They have to go to
Repent.
confession. Yeah,
Okay.
and say, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So do
Everybody's-
you firmly believe that, let's say these two girls who have had sex out of wedlock will go to hell?
Well, I mean, the Catholic position is we don't know who goes to heaven, but we do believe that adultery is a mortal sin. Premarital sex is a mortal sin, and mortal sins mean they're grave and with full consent,
Gotcha.
breaking the 10 Commandments.
So what's your advice to young Amy over here?
My advice would
married,
be
have
find
kids.
a husband who's going to take care of you and love you and cherish you and have kids. And
See, here's the part where, it's not that complicated what he's saying. Like you're trying to mix it up. He wants people to get in families and have kids. He wants people to stop, living the single casual dating life. That part of his message is pretty clear. So I think we found that part of, hey, there's a lot going wrong in society. And much like many other Christians, he thinks that the Bible is the answer. And fine. Okay. I'd rather you be reading the Bible than reading Robin DiAngelo or something. But as Opus says, he has some valid points, but he is also not a serious person. That being said, he has a whole panel of people here who dislike him. If you're that much of a non-serious person, it should be very easy to be cut down. And I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's find out.
that's the most
And you know
beautiful
what?
thing.
That's actually what I want. I got into a debate with Brendan Carter about this recently because I've been a person, I've traveled, I've moved across the world, made a lot of money, I've done the things. And one
I was just going to say, where's her accent from?
thing I can strongly attest to is it never made me truly happy or fulfilled. You get the dopamine rush, but then with goals, it's always on to the next thing. Dopamine is highly, highly addictive. And so people have this end in mind where they're like, when I get here, I'll be happy. But then there's always something else that comes up. For women, in this debate, we actually brought up that the chemical of oxytocin is a
Hey, shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party. So definitely think that random hookups are destructive for the body and soul, especially for women.
Bingo.
Completely agree. And I mean, I'm not some, buttoned up, I'm certainly not a Christian. So I'm not going to say don't have sex, but don't treat it as if it's nothing. It means something. And you can pretend that it doesn't mean something to you, but it does. That's how you're wired. Welcome to the party, brother. JH said the market would adjust and reform to the consumers. The market will never go away. True, but the time in that adjustment period is not going to be fun if half the population is just snapped out of existence. Ask the MCU. All right, the Flag Smashers were not having it. Martian said, we live in a society feeding addictions. Yeah, that's true. And then we, knowing that, then we have to make sure that the addictions that we have are at least better than the ones that are causing society to crumble. It's better to be addicted to going to the gym. It's better to be addicted to playing music than it is to be addicted to casual dating or drugs or anything. So yes, this is true. But that doesn't mean that we have to be degenerates. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Tithing for my boy Morty. That's right. Every single super chat comes with a treat for Morty. Come on, get up there, old man. There we go. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you. Very much appreciated, brother.
chemical that can
Oh, we also got a new commenter in the building. Welcome to the party. Said, look at his AFPAC 3 conference with 1,200 people and congressmen. Nick loves to troll, but is also a serious person with serious beliefs. I do think he is serious about his beliefs. I think that the fact that he is so young and so extreme, if he is able to kind of balance out that message over the next few years, he could turn into somebody who is taken seriously. But it's just, he's too brash. And we talk all the time about the messaging of or the packaging of our message, and that is just not what he's good at. But welcome to the party. Let me change this banner here for Unwanted Foe, the sponsor of our stream.
that the chemical of oxytocin is a chemical that can only be induced. It necessitates the presence of another person. You need to be giving to another person. You need to be pouring into them, providing value to them. And I think the easiest way to do that for a woman is through a family. So my mindset has completely changed.
Are you ready to quit your job?
Yeah, well, my goal is to get married and have kids. I mean, I just got out of a relationship, so I know I need to heal from that. I don't want to bring any of that into my next relationship.
Good.
The next
Good. That's good. Usually women are just monkey branching from this relationship to that relationship. So take some time, realize what didn't work about that relationship, understand what you did wrong, and then move forward. That's how you should do it.
guy I'm with, I want that to be the person I'm
There
with
you
for the rest
go.
of my life. I want to have kids. I want a family. I want those traditional values.
Okay.
Nearly more than like anything, honestly.
Well, the only one person on the panel that is married with kids here is our friend Nima. So as you're hearing this conversation go down,
So before we get there, Martian Overlord says, don't get me wrong. I'm awful and generally considered a degenerate by my friends. I said, shit, me too. I love sin, but you need something to sin against. Okay. Say more on that. What exactly do you mean by that? Shout out to Nick. Welcome to the party, Nick. Good to see you, brother. Long as you're here, brother, very much appreciated. Welcome.
married. How long have you been married?
Less than a year, but with the same woman for about 4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5 years, and you have a daughter.
Yeah.
So congratulations. As you're hearing this discussion, the women working, beautiful, attractive, Nick, staunch in his opinions, celibate, Michael, ladies' man.
Man of
What's
God.
your take?
Man. Maybe I am.
Man of God.
You don't know.
Nat, virgin. Maybe there's something here, Nick. I don't know. I don't know if you like the dark meat, but we can have that
You definitely know he doesn't like the dark meat.
convo. What's your advice for men, women, families? What do you see out there?
Yeah, you know, as crazy as it is, I agree with some of the things that Nick said. And my wife is a college graduate, and she's a teacher by training, and she stays home. You know, we underestimate how much it takes to really give a loving dedication to raising a child. I mean, my wife really wakes up sometimes 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. How could she work? I knew before I got married, and I was working with fashion models in New York for about 10 years. And
Humble
I
brag.
got a nice little, small city girl, like village girl from Germany, evangelical Christian. And, she's very dedicated to raising our child. And her parents are nearby, her grandmother's nearby, her sister's nearby, her cousins are nearby. And she gets to see this whole extended family. We got cows and horses and stuff, very different in New York. And I don't know. I think having my wife stay at home, I think she's happy.
Really? That was your big, all of that. And well, my wife is home and she's happy. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me, but I can't stand when people just draw out what they're saying. Get it out, bro. Come on. And he went after Nick before, and the only reason I'm saying it and that I skipped it is because he's going to do it again. But this guy's not going to have a good time. I can tell.
And she's a liberal. I mean, she's not like me. I'm pretty independent, but she's in Germany, their center is pretty left.
Hey, shout out to Cerberus. It doesn't show me a thing to pull up, but just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Of course, we will get Morty a treat for that and add you to the banner. Thank you, brother. Welcome to the party. Very, very, very much appreciated. Shout out to anybody who just got a membership, and welcome to the disciples. You're here. You're mine now. Thank you, brother.
And one more thing. We were talking about in America, I agree with Nick when he said that we're not creating things. My father-in-law, CEO in the auto sector, they have so many factories in Germany where they're creating widgets, like you mentioned, widgets, and they're hyper specialized. And in Germany, I think you see way more craftsmen, way more guys that are highly skilled. College is not necessary. College is free. But if you don't go to college, you don't have that stigma that you do in the United States.
Thank you again, Cerberus. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
They value people that are skilled workers, that are building with their hands. And in Germany, which I consider generally a richer country than the United States, I spent a little more than half.
What do you mean richer country than the United States?
I consider it a little richer just because, I spend, let's say, a little over 6 months here, 5 months there. Have a home in both. I don't see homelessness there. And
It depends on your finding. I mean, GDP wise, it's not even close.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't see homelessness in the streets there.
Okay.
I don't see the level of just
What's your
raw
point, bro?
violence of people
Yeah,
walking
America's
into the
falling
stores
apart.
and
Got
just
it.
taking things.
Mhm.
Here, people have guns. Here, it's just widespread. School shootings. I mean, we don't
Is that really widespread though? Don't think it is.
have these problems in Germany. You know, I'm just objectively speaking.
Come on, push through it. Come on, baby.
And I love America.
There we
Born and
go.
raised. This country saved my grandfather's life. That he came from Iran. So I have a lot of respect for this country. But I'm just saying, objectively speaking, as a father of a little infant daughter, I would feel more comfortable her going to school in Germany.
Why do you think
That's
that?
what I'm
And
saying, man.
how long have you lived in Germany, or how much time have you spent in
About
Germany?
now it's going to be about my third year, fourth
Why
year.
do you think that they've?
Like all he said was, my wife does really well with the kids. She's happy, and I don't like seeing the differences in society when I walk down the street. That's it.
Progressed so much since, you know, there may or may not have been something that definitely happened.
Yeah, they haven't had to fund the military for 80 years. How about that?
Well,
What have they done to
point.
increase their economy? What was that, Michael?
They haven't had to fund a military for 80. Like the three,
Okay.
let's go back to the 1980s and 1990s. The three countries that made the best automobiles in the world: Japan,
Volkswagen, yeah.
Italy, and Germany. What did those three countries have in common? They didn't have to have a military for the last 80 years because the U.S. provided their military, so they were able.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, obviously, it's just a little correlation, but maybe if they had to worry about the military instead of Big Brother USA, then you know, they wouldn't have had so much time to. I mean, glad we have the cars, but still.
Able to turn their manufacturing economy on other things, and that's why they build better cars and a lot of other stuff that are better than us. But to the opposite point, Pratt and Whitney is in the United States, Raytheon's in the United States, Lockheed Martin's in the United States, Boeing is in the United States.
Yeah.
There are we act like we make incredibly complex, incredibly expensive things that help our economy here in the United States. It's just we've gotten to this narrative where we don't make anything. We don't make plastic widgets like they do in China. Absolutely, but.
Yeah, and I mean, I hear this all the time about manufacturing. We need to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., and I don't disagree. I'm just a little skeptical that when Michael Scott made the argument that manufacturing is not the future and won an argument in The Office in the early 2000s, doesn't that like strike you as a little odd? Maybe that's not the answer. And I think, yeah, well. So, yeah, definitely true. And Open saying that U.S. still innovates. That's exactly my point, is that I don't necessarily know that certainly not having to buy all of our stuff from China would be a good thing. But I don't know if it's as big of a deal as we make it seem. I don't know if just, you know, like bringing GM back to Detroit, I don't think that's just automatically going to fix things. I think that's glossed over too easily. But hey, what do I know? Zippy said, much of Europe comprises of subjects who are beholden to the state and not citizens of a nation. Yep, very true. And that's another reason why America is the best. Oba said almost the only U.S. is the U.S. almost the only country where every breakthrough comes from. True. Unwanted Foe said not manufacturing local. Not manufacturing local adds tons of taxes and tariffs, etc. Again, I don't disagree with that. I'm just wondering how much of an issue is it really? Because there's just a lot of other things, and it seems like a very flimsy argument. How many people are really going to be doing, you know, those types of manual labor type jobs, you know? Oh my goodness, what do we got here? Oh my goodness, we've got a new sponsor of the stream, Zippy the Strange, with the $10 PayPal, not letting YouTube take a cent. Thank you, brother. Very much appreciated. Let me add you to the banner. Very much appreciated.
We do make a lot of things in this country.
Pull up, if you would, while having this conversation, what does America make? You're absolutely right. I mean, talking about defense and military industrial complex and everything with that, we're making the ships and the missiles and the jets and the tanks. I mean, we're definitely making that.
Real talk. I mean, you think about Japan over the last 80 years, they have not had to worry about any defense spending on against China at all, because we've got Kadena and Yokota Air Base, and we've got Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. So like that's the reason why they don't have to worry about that.
Gotcha. Back to Germany.
Thank you again, Zippy. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for serving our country, to give us all our freedom, including Nick and Adam and the ladies here. And even though we're disagreeing, it's pretty cool. We have the freedom to speak. Just in Germany, why I feel it's safer is I think that we've become desensitized to the violence here in the United States. I mean, you don't really feel it until you live abroad. And that's just, I think.
Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you don't want me to skip through everything this guy says. Put a 1 in the chat if you don't want me to do that.
We've really become desensitized. And also, I think one more reason why they do better is, again, I'm not a liberal, but they do give healthcare to everyone there. And I think one reason is they don't have the level of corruption in their capital as we do in the United States. Here, the right and the left are
not seeing any ones.
Pillaging the middle class, left and right. Healthcare. Pat was talking about the insurance industry, and I thought, it's not healthcare, it's sick care. I mean, that's so much. That's just becoming. Dude.
That's like all right, we're skipping through him. I didn't see anyone, and Zippy seems to be, where is it? Zippy seems to be a little bit what's the word? Compassionate, but not me. Sorry. JH says people can't handle the inflation now. I can only imagine having to pay for all of our crap at U.S. labor prices would go over. I think that ship has sailed. That's kind of what I mean. That, like, yes, we are paying these tariffs and taxes, but we're essentially getting slave labor. Like it or not, Chinese people who are making your t-shirts and whatever are not getting paid a living wage. It's not $15 an hour. It might be $15 a month. So again, unless we have Americans who are willing to do that work for that amount of money, which is not allowed, then the tariffs and tax, what the F is in my eye? I'm blind. I completely agree. That ship has sailed. Opus said not producing things like our own pharmaceuticals is a huge problem. There you have when it gets down to specifics, that might be something that we might want to keep, especially after what just happened, something that we want to keep to ourselves. But that's a little bit of a more nuanced part of the conversation. Jay said we accept the risk for our freedoms. Absolutely. Opus said China can make all the cheap toys and sneakers. But there are definitely a lot of things we need to get back to producing ourselves. Okay, fair enough. Such as Zippy's loving that the UK and Germany are corrupt. Something. Open up IP rights. Competition is the cleansing fire we need. Then tax the hell out of all imports. You're like one level of sarcasm away from me understanding your point, but I assume you're making a good one. And we got MJ in the building. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I definitely agree that we can certainly have a conversation about this thing. Should we be manufacturing this thing in America? And when it comes to medications and stuff like that, then I'm like, yeah, let's pay the premiums. Let's make sure we have that's built at home. When it comes to, just random electronics, when it comes to t-shirts, when it comes to clothing and stuff like that, are you really willing to pay $17 for a blank mug because it's glass blown or whatever? Like, no, you're not going to. And MJ's going at the 1.5. Welcome to the party. Let me put the word let's give her a word. Put the word poop. Put the word poop in the chat when you catch up. I'm just curious.
A cliche at this point. So many people are saying that, and it's true.
So we are skipping
in Germany,
this guy?
I've seen the healthcare system in Germany. Bathroom today, to go to the doctor to find out, hey man, I might have something that's going to cost me $50,000.
Yeah, healthcare, we get it. Okay,
catch it much earlier.
Yeah.
But do I suggest that here in the United States? Not
their healthcare is,
really drain the swamp of all the corruption.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we missed absolutely nothing from that guy.
I mean, we can have the debate of whether healthcare is a right
that was fast.
or is it a privilege and that situation.
Well, welcome.
You touched on something that essentially
we're
we'll
skipping
to now. We have the freedom to have these
Freedom!
types of conversations.
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about being deplatformed. Okay. Nick, you've been deplatformed from many of places.
It's easier to say what I'm not deplatformed.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm just going to kind of go right here. 2020, Fuentes' YouTube channel was demonetized. One of his videos was removed by YouTube. 2014, YouTube was terminated for violating policies on hate speech. January 2020, Fuentes was the most viewed live streamer on DLive platform following January 6th. His channel was subsequently suspended for inciting violent and illegal activities. You had claimed that your bank account had been frozen and that it had been placed on a federal no-fly list. And then you've been banned from Airbnb.
Shout out to Martian Overlord. Thanks you for stopping by. You have a good one.
Facebook and Instagram. Twitter was among the last mainstream social media sites to ban you, which they permanently suspended you July of 2021. You've also been banned from, let me take a breath, e-commerce services including PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Shopify, Stripe, Streamlabs, Coinbase. Okay, you also, your verified Twitter account was briefly reinstated, then it was taken off again from the southern.
Hey, shout out to BB Yup. Welcome to the party. Said Nick has no real world sway. It's better to ignore him. Well, he's on Soscast and I'm not. So as long as he is, there's people that are listening to him, then exactly, here we are. And I wanted to make it clear that this is not about, oh, yay, we get to listen to Nick Fuentes. This is, hey, people are listening to Nick Fuentes. So if we don't also listen to what Nick Fuentes has to say, then we are a step behind. That is what we are doing here. Welcome to the party.
Poverty Law Center after he immediately praised Hitler and the Unabomber and declared Jews run the news. Good rhyme right there. Maybe you should go into the hip hop game. Twitter banned him again the next day. Like you got out of jail, got a jail-free card, boom, back in jail, life sentence. So before deplatforming the major providers such as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and DLive, Fuentes collaborated with Alex Jones, who also has been deplatformed from Twitter and everywhere else, to launch his own live streaming platform, cozy.tv. But then you were
well, that's exactly the kind of, and yeah, JH is saying he has some, but not much more than a slaughter of people. And as I like to say, when people are talking about like how many trans kids there are, how many kids are asking for puberty blockers, I'm like, well, it's only this many. It's like, yeah, but you're pushing for this stuff. So the idea behind that is that you want more of it. So he may not have that much influence now, but he's only what, like 22, 23 years old? And I mean, look at Sneeko. Sneeko had a lot of influence, and I mean, obviously, he had a way better foundation than Nick Fuentes does. But you never know. I mean, we would have never thought that Trump was going to be president before, like literally the moment before he was elected. So again, I'm just saying we want to be aware of the talks, the haps, what's going on. Opus said that's why I say he isn't a serious person. He's been banned from everything. If you want to have an impact, you have to at least play the game somewhat. Fair enough. Unwanted Foes said, deplatformed from X now. Really, chunny? What the hell does chunny mean? But yeah, I'm not using that. I'm calling it Twitter because I'm not saying Xing, and that sounds weird. JH said, he's on this podcast playing the game. That's the thing. You know, people get, I mean, how many people saw the Alex Jones Fuentes interview? They're all, you know, not serious people, but a lot of people saw it. And I don't know about you guys, but ever since then, maybe right before then, because I feel like they were part of the wave, but ever since then, this anti-Semitism bubbling up has been way more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's always been there, but it's always like the anti-Semitic stuff has always been a low rumble. Like it's never been, at least that I've seen, never been taken as a serious position. But a lot more people are starting to do that, and it's not because of Nick Fuentes. So I mean, again, choose to ignore the people who have the ideas that fight against yours. Choose to do that if you will, but I will not.
Also suspended from Getter. So what platforms are you on these days?
Telegram and Rumble, and I think that's literally it. I'm going from everything else.
So Rumble. How long you been doing Rumble?
Been doing Rumble for about, I think, 6 months.
Okay.
Putting my show there.
Who did you work with to get onto Rumble?
Well, I just started a channel.
Okay.
Whose dick did you suck?
You know, I don't have a contract or anything.
Nothing. How familiar are you with their CEO?
Well, he's familiar with me. We haven't spoken.
Okay.
But indirectly, we've parlayed.
Do you know his name?
Yeah, Chris.
Chris what?
I don't know his last name.
Why is this relevant?
Google, Rumble CEO. Hold on.
Come on, guys. What is this? What are we doing? First, we have
It's
a
like
dude who can't talk, and now we're literally looking up names. There's 5 of you and a producer.
I like you better than my 2 friends right now.
Can I make a
Cheat
comment?
screen. Hold on.
while
Wait
we- oh,
one
go
sec.
ahead.
Wait one sec.
Opus says, I disagree. Anti-Semitism has always been there, even at a surface level. It's just accepted by and even popular to the left. Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it's always been there. That's exactly what I said. That it's always been there, but I'm hearing more of it. I'm seeing more. Not only am I seeing more people buy into it, but I'm seeing bigger names flirt with the idea. That's kind of all I'm really saying. And again, because I don't think that way, I haven't really paid attention to it before, much before I did see it start bubbling up with Ye and Fuentes. So the point being that he's influencing somebody. He's influencing somebody. Thanks to Jonah Hill for being in 21 Jump Street and getting what's his face Ye off that kick. But what are we gonna do? Shout out to Joe. Welcome to the party. Said, oh yes, I'm seeing heaps more anti-Semitism over the last 6 months. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that I'm not saying that it never was. I'm just saying it's been a lot more. And that is why I want to make sure that we stay on top of the people who are propagating this type of information. Welcome to the party, Joe. Glad to have you. Zippy says, yes, more people buy into it, and I do not get it. Me neither. And Zippy doesn't get it since Christianity are paid and pillage its way to the top of the food chain. How can the Jews compete? I honestly, I have no idea. That is a conversation that just does not register as something. And I mean, maybe, there's somebody who could show me what is the core of that, like, okay, there's a lot of Nobel Prize winners who are Jewish. There's a lot of people in Hollywood who are Jewish. Like, okay, how does that mean anything to me? That's the part that I've never understood. Joe says it's become cool to become anti-Semitic in Sneeko's community. That's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I'm saying. And how did Sneeko become anti-Semitic? By hanging out with Nick and listening to Tate and becoming a Muslim. So people are paying attention to this stuff.
Chris Pavlovsky, Jewish, by the way.
I don't think he is, actually.
We can fact check.
Yeah.
Why
Another fact
would
check?
you think that you're deplatformed from all these social media platforms, all these e-commerce websites, financial companies? What's going on?
Well, there's a big conversation about it, and I did a show about this recently when talking about Twitter, actually, Elon Musk's company, because of course, Elon Musk's proposition is that he was going to buy Twitter to make it free speech and never ban anything that isn't against the law. I said, but the problem with this promise is that it assumes that the censorship is coming from the platform. We know that the censorship is on the platform. We know it's enforced by the platform, but it doesn't come from the platform. If it did, probably the censorship wouldn't be uniform. In other words, the same people wouldn't be banned on everything. Like Tate, who you've had on the show, he got banned. I think you remember.
How, Zippy? How? In what way? And like legitimately asking, used for what, in what way, by who, to do what? I literally don't know the answer to any of those. Joe says, this was total Nick domination. Love him or hate him. I agree. From what I saw, you guys know I like to, have as fresh of a reaction as I can when I watch it, you guys. And I'll speed through a little bit just to make sure. From what I saw, it gets heated.
Remember a year ago from everything at once.
Yep.
It was like 1 week and the hammer came down.
I made the joke to him. Do you think, what are the chances these guys are all like on a WhatsApp group chat? And then boom, no, that kid. The same day, everything. Bang, bang, bang. How long was your spread out?
Mine was spread out over a a certain period,
Gotcha.
maybe a year or two.
No, this was same day.
Yeah, like the same week.
Same week.
The entire thing,
Yes.
his whole digital presence. And that's because the censorship is coming from the App Store. It's coming from a lot of the back-end services like Cloudflare or the domain registrars. And it is also coming from a very concerted effort by an activist class. I'm talking about the ADL, the CEO of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, the president.
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, Anti-Defamation League. He went on TV last week and basically verified what I've been talking about for a long time, which everybody knew, is that they talk to everybody, all the social media companies. Greenblatt and the ADL, they talk to Facebook, they talk to Twitter, they talk to YouTube. On YouTube, they're a trusted flagger. On Facebook, they're an expert that's brought in. They even create features for Twitter. If you go to the ADL website, they have 50 suggestions, technical suggestions for how to change the site on a technical level to make it easier to censor. And so, the point is that there is a real censorship architecture in the country, and it's not, don't necessarily point the blame at the contractors that actually do the clicking to do the ban on the platform.
That's an interesting an interesting way to look at it, that that Elon Musk buying Twitter, thinking that he could just fix it, that there's other factors at play, that maybe he's doing a better job, but because of these other factors, it's not as simple. Same thing with Trump wanting to become president and say, I'm just going to go in and drain the swamp. Then he gets in there and it's not that simple, right? So we ended the poll here saying, does Nick Fuentes have legitimate points that are worth taking seriously? 3 options: yes, no, or I don't know who he is. So no was at the bottom. Only 11% of, what did we get? 18 votes. 11% said no. A third of you didn't know who he was. And 55% said yes, Nick Fuentes does have legitimate points that are worth taking seriously. So again, if we're asking, why are we listening to this clown? Why are we listening to this guy that we don't agree with? Why are we listening to this guy who's spewing hate? It's because other people are also listening. And so if we don't listen, we will be lost. Zippy said, Twitter is not a safe place for word soup. That may be seen badly. Well, I mean, it's definitely better than like Facebook and the other places. You get away with a lot more there. Unwanted Foe said ADL is biased. Yeah, no-ish. It really shouldn't depend on it if you're somewhat right-leaning. Yeah, that was a big mistake. Joe says, how big do you think Nick's going to get? I think this is going to be the year of Nick, because Nick's energy is so taboo, people want to tune in. Interesting. So I'm not really sure. But I mean, that sounds like it would make sense. I'm not really sure, because I think, again, to harp on the packaging of the message, the reason I think that after shout out to Kevin Samuels, after Kevin Samuels died, the red pill community fell into shambles, because not that the message was that bad, but the messaging, the packaging of the message was just terrible. So I'm hoping that, because I love him, hate him, whatever, I believe in the marketplace of ideas. If you have terrible ideas, I want you to be able to say them so that we all can see, hey, guys, that's a terrible idea. Not to make fun of you, just so that we all know. And so if he can get better at packaging his messaging so that it's not so brash, and I mean, he's done a pretty decent job tonight so far. But if he can do that, then I do think that, with the same people who were following Andrew Tate, the same people who were following Sneeko, way after it became, all right, they kind of took a hard left. The people who stuck with them, those are the kind of people who are going to tune into Nick. And if Nick can clean up his messaging just a little bit, then he'll be able to get, he's small enough. Well, he will be able to get past the MSNBCs of the world on, kind of doing the daily thing, especially if Trump's in office. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how close they are then. But point being, I think you're right in the sense that he has a lot of energy that people want to tune into. And I think that he also, can make some minor adjustments that will make, despite the fact that he has a message that I abhor, that is going to be more palatable to more people. Great question. Zivi says, it's easy to get past the iStore and Apple censorship. Sites just want to centralize via app what are you saying, bro? Come on, man. Chill. Just chill. Read and then press send. I promise you I will read it. Joe says, what metric do you use to say the red pill community fell? Views or subs? Neither. I would just say my own personal anecdotal experience of the people who were respected in that space and the people who respected that space are either gone or no longer do, including myself. The messaging got watered down. It stopped being about how to help men, and it became more about dunking on women. And I think it's just the male version of hyperfeminism these days. So I absolutely, I think that especially young men should be introduced to what the red pill community teaches. But as of, the death of Kevin Samuels, as and that's not the hard mark, but that's a good place to mark it. But as before and after. Before Kevin Samuels, I would say yes, red pill. But after that, then it's just like, all right, well, you can get this message from other places, or if you're going to dabble with like Fresh and Fit, come on. If you're going to dabble with Fresh and Fit, make sure you understand that this is all entertainment here. Make sure you understand that this is not what average women are like, so on and so forth. That they may be making certain points, but the way they are presenting it is not as realistic as you want it to be. So I think that it hasn't fallen necessarily by views or subs. I think I haven't looked, but it may be more popular than ever. But I'm talking in terms of actual tangible value to society. I think Kevin Samuels was just a valuable person with a valuable message, and the people who looked up to him it seems like they felt the need to follow in that line. And once he was gone, it became Tate. And then, Tate was kind of in this whole thing with the popularity where he was already famous, but then he came into the online streaming space, and it all got messy. Because that's when you had like people like Sneeko and Aiden Ross, these little children acting like leaders for so many people. Not good. Yep, I'm on to vote agrees with Joe's. A big trend lately is that toxic-ish becomes popular. Jay says he just needs to avoid the race realism-ish. I mean, I would agree in the general sense that that is BS. But in terms of him wanting to spread his message, I kind of feel like that's at the core of his message, is it not? So you can't really avoid it if that's what your message is. But what you can do is talk about the points that you are trying to make and be very particular about the words that you use so that people understand that you are making that point and you're not just trying to say something to piss people off, which is right now what I think a lot of people think of Nick Fuentes. Zippy says, if you, as a platform or a site, want to get past iStore nonsense, make a .mobile site that has the same page as an app would. Most apps are built on Chrome. Good advice. MJ said the term red pill, black pill, white pill, etc. I think those need to retire and be updated, especially since COVID forced vaccination, all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I agree, because I think whether in politics or in dating, as a general, like, I think definitely if you're going around telling people that, oh, I'm red pill or I'm black pill, yeah, like that's very 2015. Maybe not 2015, but at least 2017. But in terms of just generally speaking, if you're talking politics and we're talking about the Young Turks and we're like, oh wow, they're getting red pilled, like, we're not saying that they're going to be huge Trump supporters, but everybody understands that they're starting to see things a little bit more closely to the way the rest of us do. And then if we're talking about dating, then again, still very useful in terms of saying like, oh, that guy's a red pilled or that guy's black pilled, and like he knows what's good, but he's it's a shorthand and it means what it means. So I guess I don't think that it's this. Again, I don't think it's the same thing that it was a few years ago. But in terms of the terms, I don't really have a problem with that. Joe says, Sneeko is a child and a parrot. Yep, incredibly hard to listen to. His audience has to be under 18. Yeah, and I was a big fan of Sneeko before he started live streaming. I mean, not way back when he started, but when he was doing, his video essays every once in a while, I loved those videos. I think he is an extremely intelligent, creative, and thoughtful person. But even intelligent, creative, thoughtful people can be caught up in BS. And that is exactly, we saw it happen in real time. On this channel, we saw it happen in real time. We were covering him like, yeah, Sneeko. And then slowly it was just like, what are you doing, bro? And eventually it just exploded into what he is now. Excuse me. Daniel says, MJ, no, don't take away the Matrix references. Yeah, then Andrew Tate won't be able to speak. What is he going to say?
Or even the platforms themselves, there is clearly an interest in having certain things banned, things that are against the liberal consensus in the country, even where law enforcement's involved. You know, there was a big scandal this year. It was uncovered by the Missouri Secretary of State and one other Secretary of State in a lawsuit. They found that DHS, FBI, and a number of other government agencies were directly telling Facebook what to ban. Literally, the press office for the White House was making a call to Facebook and saying, hey, can you pull this post? And they say, yep, right away. So
Malik, pull up, well, keep talking. Pull up the Pierce Morgan clip, please. There's two clips.
Man.
Anyway, so that's the kind of thing that goes on.
Is this going to be Pearl?
As far as I'm concerned, you know, I think, you know, I say a lot of controversial stuff and a lot of it's for effect and a lot of it's jokes and things like that. But I think relatively it's pretty tame. If people actually sit down and watch my show and give it a chance, it's not actually an extremely radical message.
Okay.
Is it though? Again, I don't know because I actually have not sat down and listened to his show, but I have seen some clips and I fail to see how you get from those clips to anything tame. But hey, again, I have not seen it. Guys, can we get 2 more likes in here, please? Just two. Thank you so much.
Michael, have you watched this show?
Yeah, but to his point, he's correct. Like one of the issues I have is so I was texting Andrew Tate the day he got like deplatformed everywhere.
Humble
and
brag.
When your side wants to make it out like there isn't a conspiracy, here's a great idea. Don't deplatform someone on everyone at the same time. Like that kind of confirms that this whole thing is happening. Like I said before, even though I disagree with Nick, the best way for us to come to by the way, we may come to a consensus on certain things. That's only going to happen if we are allowed open discourse. And it was really funny because Graham Stephan did an interview with Destiny. And
great point.
Destiny said this, and I
He'll
really
be here
agree with
tomorrow
it.
on the show.
Huh?
Graham Stephan.
What'd you say?
He'll be here tomorrow on the show.
No, yeah, Graham Stephan, and he one of the things Destiny said, he goes, I'm the only person on this side of the aisle who's willing to have these debates with other people because everyone else on my side of the aisle, they just say, shut up. They look down at people who don't agree with them. And so I think that's a really unhealthy way to do things. So no, I definitely agree to that standpoint. I do think you have said some things that are a little bit more than just playful and controversial, you know, just like making jokes about, you know, killing Ben Shapiro and stuff like that.
Oh, come on.
Damn. And that is like, well, I want to say likely just to give the benefit of the doubt because I haven't seen or know of anything off the top of my head. But, you know, going back to like the race realism stuff, like race is a real thing. Okay. Like that stuff is not palatable. And so if you want to say that it is real, then you have to talk about it in a way that is tied to something that people can relate to. So it is, and yeah, maybe talk to more racist people than yourself, so you seem like the tame one. But that is going to be, you know, going back to Joe's question of how big do you think he's going to be? Either I'm right, or he goes full bore, and people are all about it. We've seen lately that is a tactic, and you will get a following, and only time will tell.
I know you're going to say it's metaphorical, and I get that. That's fine. My point is, like, it seems to be kind of repeated when you talk about things that happened in Germany in the 1940s, and then you start talking about Cookie Monster. That, like, you can see how that might be a little sensitive to other people.
Do I want to know? Do I want to know what the reference of Cookie Monster has to do with that?
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Relevant. I mean,
if we're going to use the word of my people, just say the J's.
No, we're I mean, yes.
Well, I don't even need to, but here's the thing. What you have to keep in mind is that I've done 1,200 shows. I'm going to be doing my 1,200 stream this week. And what you have ever since, because I started my show when I was 18 years old, when I was a freshman in college, they have been collecting. I'm talking about the ADL, SPLC, Right Wing Watch. Every time I go live, there is somebody from one of these groups that sits down and watches the show to clip. And when I say something that's inconvenient, when I say something that sounds bad, they clip it, they put it in an article. And then every time henceforth I go on a show like this, or they write a news article about me, they're there to reproduce basically the highlight reel of every unfortunate thing I've ever said. Every, like, for example, you say,
well, that's why, Nick, you need to be aware of that. That is the game. That is the game. If you notice, I try at least, when somebody comments something that I don't want to be clipped. Like, let's just say there was something, there obviously is nothing in here that I wouldn't want to say, Nick. I'm just using you as an example. But let's just say that I was really surprised when I started high school. Let's just say that is something that if clipped out of context would not look good. I would say, I was really surprised, Nick said, when I started high school. That way you actually have to cut out a piece in order for that clip to be. And when people are still stupid, but at least you can see that there is a cut. You don't have a full thing of me saying, I was really surprised when I started high school, if that were an offensive statement. But let's rebuttal here. There was, when he started high school, there was so much anti-Semitism rhetoric by the local kids of the Danish ancestry. Then I learned of the lie that Denmark helped the Jewish people escape Germany. Interesting. Yeah. I know nothing about this kind of stuff. Zippy says, I feel you should say, believe in Jesus and read the book so you won't go to hell. It's a solid middle ground. Unfortunately, it is. I do think that is also extreme. Oh, you want to come up here, Bubba? You can come up here. Come up here. Come. Yeah. Hey, we got Morty in the building. Unfortunately, the fact that you say if you don't read this book, you will burn for eternity is actually middle ground, and that is what he believes. So, and so do many others. So, I agree with you. That's exactly what I mean. You don't have to change your message, because especially if people actually buy into your message, racist or not, then if that's what people are buying into, then you do that's what it is. But you have to package it in a way that people who don't love it are like, all right, well, that's not for me, but at least I don't have to take him down. So he says, then again, if he's Catholic, it may be better to say, believe in the church and donate to the church to not go to hell. Yeah. Welcome to the party, Ayush. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Said, just finished watching the PBD live town hall with Vivek. Oh man, I really want to see that. Good stuff. How is everyone doing? I'm doing well. How about you, sir? Oh my goodness. Not only will I do that. Here, I'm gonna move this so we can see. You want that? Yeah, there we go. And I'll be giving him a neck and a belly rub the whole time. So if you see me doing that, it's not what you think. It's Morty, I promise. But thank you so much. And that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Actually, you know what? Since Zippy went through I'm sorry, Bubba. Oh, I just hit his head on the desk. Oh, Morty. Since Zippy went through PayPal, I'm going to leave you both in there because I appreciate you so much.
Today I talk about killing Ben Shapiro. For context, I was playing Grand Theft Auto. I was doing a gaming stream. I saw an NPC that looked like a Hasidic Jewish person.
And you ran him over.
I said, that's Ben Shapiro. Let's go get Ben Shapiro. And people misconstrue that as like a threat. Or even Nima brought up earlier, he said, well, you're talking about ganging up with Hitler to kill a black guy. I said on my show, I saw somebody the other day in my neighborhood littering. It was a black person. Just throwing 3 rappers out of his window. I said, people like that should get the death penalty. I said, littering in my community. I said, that's ridiculous.
But,
I said,
is that literal or is that just being bombastic?
It's hyperbole.
Don't you see how you have kind of a response? I understand what you're saying. You're trying to be funny, and I get that. I've said things that were, you could probably take out of context too. Well, my point is,
shout out again to all 3 of the sponsors. You guys are blessing me hard tonight, and I very much appreciate it.
It's like, I'm not, you're 100 times bigger on your platform than I am. I feel a responsibility for the things that I say that they can't be taken out of context. And it's one of the things where I tell my clients is like, when you say things to people and you text them, they're there forever. And so I feel a responsibility for certain jokes that I can't make because they can be taken out of context. Do you ever feel that responsibility as well? Because you have a very big platform. You have a lot of people who do take a lot of the things you say literally, even when you're being metaphorical.
Well, I would say first of all, that's not true, because nobody who watches my show has ever done anything violent. You know, all these kinds of things you've heard about, politically motivated violence. There's never been anybody that watches my show that's done anything like that, because I push Catholicism. It's a sin to kill. It's a sin to hurt people.
But it's not a sin to be racist.
As far as responsibility is concerned, you have to keep in mind that it's bad faith. You know, when people take something like, I'm playing a video game stream and I kill an NPC and they say, that's a death threat. You know, that's an actionable death threat. At a certain point, I say, okay, well, this isn't fair. No matter what I say, they're going to take it out of context. They're going to take it in the most uncharitable way. And I tend to do this where I'll play it up to such a crazy point as the statement in itself. I did a speech after I got banned on Twitter, and I went outside a hotel and I said, you know what? I'm going to give the most racist, the most sexist, and it's because, as you know, the left will call everything under the sun racist, even when it's not, sometimes even when it is. And so it's just to play it up a little bit. So, Nick, but I do feel responsible.
Nick, let me ask you.
I know this, Obus. It absolutely is a sin. That was the joke. That was the joke. But really quick, I wanted to address this. JH says, I wish Vivek stood a chance. Seems awesome from what I've seen. Vivek absolutely stands a chance, especially since Ron DeSantis has been doing a nosedive. I'm not saying he's going to win. It's very, 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 very most likely going to be Trump, but please do not count him out. He's right at that point where it's people like us who do like him that we need to push through the primaries to actually show, we're serious about supporting that.
When you were 18, you had how many subscribers?
Not many.
Okay. What was your reputation?
Well, I was a mainstream conservative, your average guy.
And now you're 24?
Yeah.
You have how many?
Yeah, 24
subscribers.
Yeah, he's 24 years old. I mean, the guy has time to refine his message or refine his packaging of that message.
Probably 250,000 across all platforms.
So you've come a long way. How have you sort of reinvented yourself and your messaging? Because we've talked about Tate. Tate today is not saying the exact same things he was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. He's had to evolve. Some of the things he's actually said, he's sort of said, look, my bad on that one. You know, recently came out and said, hey, I might even actually get married right now, whatever. So Tate's evolving, right? A lot of people, we talked about some of the things that you've said. They're like, yeah, Nick, I don't know how you're going to beat that one. I mean, all right, you want these people to die. You want these people not to be able to go to school. You want segregation. All right. How have your, not only your thoughts and your beliefs evolved, but your words?
Well, they haven't changed much, because when
But isn't that
before he gets into that, guys, please, just 2 more likes, please, please, please. It helps out so much. Thank you.
an issue if they haven't changed in 6 years?
Not necessarily, because I went through a very rapid period of change at that time, which was 2016.
Yeah, but you were 18. Who here is older than 18 who still has the same ideas and thoughts and beliefs that they did when they were 18? If you do, you shouldn't.
2016 was an explosion of political discourse because people don't even think about it this way. It was the first election where you had widespread adoption of the smartphone and social media. First, I think it was double what it was in 2012. And so as a consequence, you had Gamergate, you had the Trump revolution. And so I started out basically the opposite of what I am now. So when you say, well, there was no change, I was a 180 when I started the show, or shortly before I started the show. I was a Zionist. I was a fan of Shapiro. I was a fan of Prager, Charlie
You
Kirk.
were a Zionist
How dare you?
and fan of Shapiro?
Yeah, and when I was in high school, this is a dumb story. Long story short, I got kicked out of my Model UN team because I was such a Zionist, and the guy running it was like a big Palestinian supporter, and we got into it all the time, and they
Cool story, bro.
threw me out.
So what changed, Nick?
Well, I just started reading. I started reading more. I started looking into things. And specifically, I started talking to this girl named Cassie Dillon at college. And, we started talking and she liked me and she worked for Shapiro. She worked for Daily Wire. And at that time, I was asking very basic narrow questions that maybe there'd be agreement on this platform. I said, why is there all this foreign aid to the state of Israel?
Facts. Shout out to Derek. Welcome to the party. Said, why do you have to change your views after 18 if they are right? Because no 18-year-old has all of the right answers. I'm not saying you should be a completely different person. Obviously, especially if you were brought up right, then you're going to have a good foundation for your views and stuff like that. But no, if you are just the way that you see the world, the life experience that you have between 18 and 25, absolutely should change the way that you look at the world. It shouldn't change how you necessarily feel about particular things, but you should be able to realize, oh, this thing that I thought was a good solution, there's a reason why that's not realistic. And that should be most of the things that you think. And so then as you grow older, you realize, okay, well, I still want, as much of the free market as we can, but we can't have an anarcho-capitalistic society because people suck and we'll steal and kill and do this. And we need some form of law and order. That's what I mean. Not that you have to be a completely different person the day after you turn 18. But welcome to the party, Derek. Good to see ya. Zippy said Islam also has issues of emulating stories and not understanding them. Religion, am I right? Opus said, if you're 40 and your ideas haven't evolved since you are 18, then you are probably dogmatic. And that is one of the worst things that anyone can be, in my personal, humble opinion.
It's $3.8 billion a year. It's more than any other country for 40 years. What's going on with that? And instead of getting an answer like, oh, well, here's why, this is the answer, I was told, well, you can't talk about that. Don't ask that again. And I'd push and say, well, we're America first. I'm pro-Trump. My show's called America First. They'd say, yeah, well, that's one you just can't talk about because, there's an answer, but
I didn't know his show was called America First. That really sucks for all the America First politicians that were like, yeah, we want to be America First, like your Lauren Boebers, your MCG, your Matt Gaetz, these kind of people being associated by somebody who might not know any better. Like, oh yeah, they call themselves the American First conservatives. They must be on Fuentes' team.
Her answer?
That was her. That was a writer there named Elliot Hamilton, another writer named Aaron Bandler. That was that whole crew. Okay. And I said, well, clearly this relationship.
And to be clear, where did they work?
Daily Wire.
Okay.
The Shapiro.
Gotcha.
And were you were going to work at the Daily Wire, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Wow.
They were talking about making me a writer there. And this is no exaggeration at all. One night I'm talking to Cassie Dillon and saying this kind of stuff. And she said, you know what? We had been friends. I'd stayed at her house. We had gone to parties, whatever. She goes, we're not in the same movement anymore. You're alt-right and I'm a conservative. And I'm never going to talk to you again. Don't ever contact me. And they all blocked me on Twitter. They never talked to me again. And that didn't catalyze it. Of course, the process was underway. I had been looking at things and asking these questions, but getting that door slammed in my face. And like Michael said, people are realizing censoring people like me doesn't work because then people like me, it's a good heuristic. They're like, hey, if I get banned for talking about this, maybe it's a forbidden truth.
Do you know how many flat earthers I have to debate with specifically on this point? Because they get ratioed and they're like, well, that proves that you're telling the truth. And I'm like, man, I really wish they'd stop doing this shit because it's exactly what he's saying. Like, don't ban these people for making these statements. I want to know personally, I want to know if the political candidate that I want to vote for doesn't believe in something I believe in. If we ban him from that type of speech, he may say that buzzword that lets me know I can't vote for this dude, but we can't see that because YouTube will take away that. I'm not even going to say the words because I'm not going to get you deplatformed. That's the issue. Yeah, no, I totally understand what he's saying.
I don't agree that there should be censorship, but Nick, I want to ask you a question in terms of how are you? And
thank you for the likes, guys. Much appreciated.
I think that you are a product of the culture and where it is today. Because how are you any different than someone like Ilhan Omar saying that white men are a danger to society? I think we live in this world now in the culture where making money off of being sensational and getting more followers and getting more attention is a direct result of where we are as a culture. And to me, that's very sad.
Before she continues, I want to go on this with Opus as well, because American nationalist is a very, very different thing than a white nationalist or a Christian nationalist. American nationalist just means that you're rah-rah America. That's literally all it means.
because men like Eisenhower, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Do you think that they would ever say the things that you have said? No.
Yeah.
They might have said it,
They all
but
agree with me.
to make money, no.
Do they though? Do they though? I don't think they do. I don't think so.
Oh, Eisenhower does not believe that the Holocaust did not happen.
Hey,
Well,
Nick,
Did somebody say careful as if that is true? Did Eisenhower not think what?
Eisenhower had concentration camps himself. You probably don't know that because you don't even read any books.
but I mean, they were camps for Japanese people, but they weren't systematically.
I'm talking
working them
about
to death.
camps in Germany.
My point is, do you
Yes.
believe that you are effective, or do you do this to gain attention and to make money?
Let me reply to that because a lot of people accuse me of that.
Before he does that, Derek says, I was kidding, brother. You are in the right place. Just in the last couple of years, I've gone from hardcore libertarian to finding something that is possible. Yeah, that is definitely, something that I'm struggling with as well. What is, something more possible than that I use that anarchistic, capitalistic libertarian society as an ideal, because I do believe that would be, a utopia, but a utopia is not realistic. And so I think that we should understand what our ideals are so that we can come to the closest practical reality. And understanding that is a process. So glad we're on the same page, brother. Commenter said the founding fathers were white nationalists who were probably more radical on race than Nick. Were they? I don't. I mean, they definitely were in favor of slavery. I'm just trying to think if okay. So I'm thinking of two things, and I'm thinking if the thing I'm thinking is a pass, and then I'm thinking of me giving this reason if that's an excuse. So I think that it is possible, and I'm working this out in real time, so it might sound stupid. It is possible that they owned slaves as more of a cultural thing, and not saying that black like we have anything specific against black people, and that's. Also, am I making an excuse for them? I don't know. Comment below. Comment in the chat. What do you think of that? That just was a half-baked thought I just put out there. I don't know. Opus doesn't think Nick is effective. That is definitely for sure. And certainly not as effective as he could be. And that's exactly what I mean about refining that message. But exactly, he is young. But not young enough to just be as blatantly wrong about stuff as he is. At 18, fine. But you're almost 25, bro. Come on, grow up. David Banner says, Nick already painted himself into a white nationalist corner. I don't think he's getting any new followers of him being the broken clock that's right twice a day. We will see. We will see. I would like to think you're correct. I hope you are correct. But again, he's making the rounds and he's playing the game. So I hope you're right, but I don't know if you are. Welcome to the party, Mike W. Welcome to the party. Glad to see you, brother. How have you been? Daniel says to commenters, some of the founding fathers were, yes, but there was a fair majority that were abolitionists or suffragists. All right, relax. We can agree without being snippy. All right. Zippy said slavery and the natives were a compromise to get more people to join the union. It's a hell of a thing that some processes have to start somewhere. You guys do make a valid point. That I mean, he's probably closer in ideology, whether for whatever reason, to the founding fathers than a lot of us in that area. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's another conversation. But we want to give him the like, oh no, the founding fathers, we love them. We stand. What did the girls say? We stand on the shoulders of giants. But they kind of are doing the same thing. But as we were saying before, in the same way that an individual is going to have evolving opinions, so is a nation, so is a country. So again, maybe those are excuses, but I think it's a different type of thing to be, to treat black people differently in 1770 and to treat black people differently in 2023. Those are very, very, very different things. Opus said, I think he's torpedoed his brand as well. I definitely don't think the working with Ye stuff helped at all. I think he thought it was going to blow up his career, and he probably got a little bump from it. But
it's a pretty curious way for a person like me to make money by getting myself banned from the banking system. I can't have a personal checking account. I can't have credit card processing on my website.
You didn't know that you were going to get banned, though, when you started saying all this stuff.
True, but he also didn't stop saying those things once he got banned.
I think it was pretty established even back then. Chuck Johnson, Milo, all those guys got banned way before me. It would be far more lucrative to do what you do and talk about Hamas is the enemy of the world, because there's no shortage of jobs for people that carry water for that. But if you oppose it, you get banned from everything. You get kicked out of Turning Point. You get whatever. So let me just say, it hasn't been especially lucrative for a person like me to not have access to the financial system.
Just to be clear, and I'll come to you. So just to be clear, I think she made up a good point about the attention economy. Attention is a currency these days, in whether it's with your finances, with views, the eyeball economy, with women. That's how they, suck resources out of men, time, energy, attention. What you say, do you actually believe what you say, or is it the good old-fashioned shock jock? Let's shock the system and be bombastic.
And of course, he can't answer this question honestly, or I guess there is no right answer to this question, because if he says shock jock, then everybody's like, oh, you don't actually believe this stuff? And then if he says, no, I'm really racist, then obviously that goes over the same way. But if he has torpedoed his career, if he has reached that mark, then he desperately, desperately needs to hang on to the audience that he has. And so if I were him, so it depends. It depends. Is he trying to, he's definitely a shock jock. That's not up for question. Where is it? Yeah, that's not up for question. The question is what his viewers think of him. And so if he is willing to burn the bridge of ever being taken seriously and saying, I've got my people and they keep me afloat, so I'm just going to do whatever I can, then he needs to go, no, I'm not a shock jock. I'm not doing for this. I might make jokes sometimes and I mean everything I say. But if you are looking to try to, redeem yourself, then you kind of got to lean into, I've been saying things in a certain way and I know I need to do this and that and the other. Exactly what Tate did. That, he was able, believe him or not, he was able to change his public perception just by addressing the fact that I used to say things in a certain way, and I realized I should change my mind, the way that I speak. And again, whether you believe it or not, then it is what happened.
How do you process
I would have to believe what I say, because I've gone through a process which, I don't wish on people. It's not just being banned from the banking system, which I don't think you realize. It means I can't make money. Imagine if you couldn't accept credit cards on your website. Mm-hmm. You have a huge platform, but if you didn't have YouTube, if you didn't have super chats, if you couldn't accept credit cards, the ability to make money rapidly disappears. As far as the sensationalism goes, I'll admit I'm sensational like anybody. It's marketing, but I've gone through the gauntlet of what I have at a very young age. And again, like I said, it's it's the social media deplatforming. Mm-hmm. It's being ostracized by my high school friends and the whole gamut of having views.
The whole gamut or the whole gamut? But it's completely agreeing, Wonderful. Still a crazy notion that all banks will ban a person. Yeah, one bank is crazy enough, but all the banks together will ban a person who didn't do anything illegal. I don't know if he's doing anything illegal either, but I'm sure we would know if he had done something illegal, because they would plaster that everywhere. And yeah, murderers can have bank accounts. Why? What should don't fly? What are we talking about? Obis is 100% against debanking. Oh yeah, yeah, completely agree. That's wild. That is just wild, and that's only the beginning. When we're talking about, the banking system we have now, just wait until they have FedCoin or whatever they call it. Oh man. It's going to be like that. It's going to be so easy. It's not even going to be like a story when somebody gets canceled or debanked or depersoned, really, because it's going to be so common, and it's going to be so ubiquitous that you're not even going to be able to tell people. You're not going to be able to use your phone at all. You're not going to be able to buy anything. Nick says Ben Franklin, while being an imperfect human, still did so much to support freedom of religion. He helped start the first Jewish synagogue and Muslim mosque in the country. Oh wow, didn't know that. Well, did not know that. Thank you. Zippy says, Gamut. So he is a self-willing Jew. I'm being silly. No.
Mods, crush his skull. Thank you.
Like I have, because I really believe them. And it's founded not, by the way, in like race baiting or something. It's founded in my conviction in Catholicism. If you knew anything about me, what really changed in college is not just that one inquiry about the foreign aid. It was the fact that I picked up a Bible actually for the first time in my life in college. And I genuinely thought about death. And I realized that
I could stop there because it's got all the answers. And now at 24 years old, or actually 18 at the time, I have all the answers of the universe because it says it in this book. This book says it has all the answers to the universe. So it must have all the answers to the universe. So now I can sit here as a smug 24-year-old, not having changed my opinions in 5 years, thinking I know everything because that's what dogma does to people.
that what we have today is a world order that is totally set against Jesus and totally set against God. And so it's on my heart to do this no matter the cost, even if it, even if
Nick, let me ask you, and then
A real warrior for God. A real warrior for God.
I'm coming to Nima because he hasn't spoken. So I have this. There's a bio, right? Some of it is probably accurate. I would say most of it. Some of it might not be. Because I would like your message to be conveyed correctly.
Sure.
So I'm just going to read you a couple things of what it says, but then I would forget about this. You write your own bio. I'm going to give you this, and you say, you know what? Here's what I stand for. Short, quick, not a whole espousal, right? Nick Fuentes, known for holding anti-Semitic views and denying the Holocaust. That's what it says here. He's a far-right supremacist and political commentator and live streamer. He identifies as a member of the incel movement and as a supporter of authoritarian government.
Yep.
And is a Catholic integralist.
Now do you, St. Michael. Oh, you can't because it is your entire identity. Oops.
Integralist. Got to learn how to read. And white Christian nationalist. In 2020, seeking to establish a white supremacist conference to rival CPAC, Fuentes began holding the annual America First Political Action Committee, AFPAC. Fuentes attended 2017 white supremacist rally in Charlottesville and later was the attendee of speaker events preceding the 2021 United States Capitol attack. So there's a bio. How much of that is accurate? And here's your chance to write your own bio.
Well, a lot of it's not true. Every time they say my name, they got to throw in white supremacist, white nationalist, anti-Semitic, neo-Nazi. I don't identify with any of those things. I'd say I'm a Catholic American nationalist.
Catholic American nationalist. But, I understand that. But, they say, you are your reputation. Like Michael, no matter what Michael tries to tell me,
but I'm sure
no matter what
true.
Michael tries to tell me, I know that dude is out in Vegas. I know he's with women. I know he's got high profile buddies. I don't care what he says. I'm seeing the words. He has a reputation, right? Homeboy over there, reputation. He been in the fashion industry. He says a lot of bombastic things. He has a reputation. I have a reputation. You go ask anybody in Miami, it's like, dude, Adam's been around the block, blah, 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 blah. You have this reputation. So what have you done to dispel this reputation?
Well, I would say it's a little different. I mean, my reputation, if you talk to people that know me, because that's really what a reputation is, people that know you.
Replay gang, you definitely want to check out the chat.
Not because the Wikipedia, that's a Wikipedia article. It's just been established that the CIA runs Wikipedia. That just came out this week. So I wouldn't necessarily say that what the press says about you is who you are.
Yeah.
Because if what the press said about you is who you are, then what does that make Andrew Tate? And what does that make Donald Trump or Alex Jones? And I would say that if you talk to people that know me, I'm a polite, respectful person, and I treat everybody in a respectful way.
As long as they're white and Christian, even though you're Hispanic. Got it.
I happen to have views that politically are totally against the system. And therefore, the media, which we know is controlled by the system, doesn't have nice things to say about me.
Wrong. That is not why they have not nice things to say about you. It's your not nice ideas. It may be convenient for them, and they may be controlled by the system, but there's a lot of people who they go after, and it's not because of they're not nice to them. There's a lot of reasons that people don't like you and think they're legitimate.
me. And as far as dispelling
What do you mean by
reputation,
the? Oh yeah, go ahead.
what have I done to dispel that? I mean, at the end of the day, what can a person do? I mean, I've had special guests at my event. I've had speakers at my event that are black. I'm a white supremacist. I've had my whole line.
I have friends who are black, guys. I swear, I'm not racist.
To be black speakers. The guy that got me on the show is black.
Oh, yeah.
I have Jewish friends. Some of the people that I cite the most in these debates, like Michael Sartain's been doing his research. I know that. The primary author I cite is Jewish. His name's Ron Unz. The other author I cited on Fresh and Fit, Israel Shayhak, is Jewish. Another good friend of mine, Darren Beatty, runs Revolver, Jewish. Laura Loomer. Great personal expense. People call me a hypocrite for this. I went out and supported her, and I was there on her election night party. She's a hardcore Jewish Zionist. I have.
Okay, so if all of this is true, then what is the point that you are making? That you are not against anything Jewish? You have nothing to say against Jewish people? Having Jewish people around you does not mean anything in this respect. So make your point or don't.
Happen to believe that she's America first. We disagree on that issue. But the point is, all you'd have to do is take a look at the company I keep, and it's a diverse panel.
Gotcha. Nima, you mentioned his name. I don't know what that situation was, but the deplatforming. You mentioned a guy. What you mentioned Nima's name? Well,
okay. So I'm gonna try to do some well-timed muting. It's probably not gonna screw it.
Responding to something he said. What was that?
He said this earlier, in the very beginning of the stream, which you skipped. And I think this is the part where he's coming back.
You mentioned
at one
him.
point.
I mean,
the mutual friend or something.
Oh yeah, he talked about Ali.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been canceled for standing up to toxic feminism. I lost about 800,000 followers on TikTok. I empathize with both of you, but I just wanted to chime in on what Michael said because I agreed with it on you, Nick, and I do think you're being pretty professional. And you seem like a nice guy in person. To your credit, Now to what Michael said, you do complain that people you get angry that people are complaining that you use the N-word, that you said Hitler is very cool, but 45 minutes ago you threw a huge fit whenever anyone here brought up the accusations of you watching child.
Boom, got him.
Accusation. Who's accusing me of that?
So obviously CP is what we're talking about, but that was an awesome, well-timed mute. Awesome. Daniel said, so I work and live around people. Does that mean I don't hate people? In his mind, it does. Daniel says, I'm pretty sure I'm a misanthrope.
I think Ethan Ralph, I think quite a few people online
but what are you
have talked
talking
about you being a closet homosexual as well, and watching child porn. It's I think you know what I'm talking about. And
Nima, where are you getting this?
Why don't you say what you're talking about? This is what's wrong with people. Have some fucking balls. If you're accusing him of something, say, hey, I know that you watch CP. Hey, I know that you did this. Hey, I know that, well, there's this thing about the thing, and, somebody named that did a thing. What are you saying, bro? What is the accusation? Who did you hear that from? Where did it come from? How do you know it's true? Let's talk about it. Because if it's true, I want to know. Give me any reason not to ever have to listen to this dude again. But if you don't have anything, then keep your damn mouth shut.
It's a personal attack. What evidence do you have for any of this? He could speak for himself.
That you're a closet homosexual?
Yeah. What's the evidence?
I think enough people have told me. I think it's been all over it.
So what's the evidence, if you know?
What's the evidence that you're straight?
Come on, bro. Come on. I'm with Nick on that. What is that? What's the evidence that you're straight?
What?
So that's, oh my God, the weakness of this argument.
You said I'm gay, child porn. What's the evidence? Let's hear it. What's the case?
I think there's been at least 2 people in your group that have basically been caught around,
Who?
Ali was one.
And what is my relationship with him? Tell me.
I don't know. You got fired by Kanye.
Then why are you talking about something that egregious that it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. There's a code where you don't talk about, beating women or hurting children. You don't accuse a man of doing that. Because once you get that, There's no rubbing it off regardless of whether it's true or not. That's below the belt. JH said, we've all heard the memes, but nothing concrete. And yeah, I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat. Ayush said he wants to get his sister in a relationship with Nick. That's what he's doing. Daniel said, I'm gonna have to cut out that imitation of Jerry Seinfeld. What? Zuby says, well, he's not dating anyone. There's no receipts. Yeah, because, I mean, at least according to him, that he's a Christian incel who is saving himself for marriage. Now, I would not be at all surprised if he was gay. I would not at all be surprised if he was hanging out with shady characters. That's not what my outrage at this moment is about. It is about a man coming at another man with something like this with zero evidence. Like, you can't even say the thing. You can't even say, this person told me that. And you're saying that on a live podcast. You are not a man. You are a bitch.
Beta.
Unwanted Foe said, those are some accusations. You can't just walk back. I mean, come on, bro. Yeah, well, I mean, I heard it from like a meme somewhere.
What? His campaign,
So
didn't you?
you don't know.
But you got fired by him, didn't you?
No, but let's talk about Ali, because we could talk about Kanye, but let's talk about Ali, because you said
St. Michael, I mean, really, I'm warning you. You do not want to go down that road because I have a lot more evidence than dude has on Nick. So let's just play nice.
Ali's in my group. What does that mean? Because you just said that.
I mean, that's like your best friend forever, isn't it?
He's my best friend forever. What's my relationship with him?
You know what it is. Now you're downplaying it.
You don't even know. Because you're here to attack me personally, because you have some beef.
This is the kind of stuff that will help Nick Fuentes become become seen as a more palatable person. So if your goal is to take him down, don't do this. Don't do this.
With my political views.
I like Trump. You're getting defensive again.
Because you're...
You're getting defensive. All I said was that you look at CP. You're getting defensive about that? I would get defensive too. Would you not get defensive? Are you okay with that? I would get very defensive. Ugh.
I never set up Trump like you did when you brought
Just to be clear here, guys. Just to be clear, he actually was. I don't know who Ali is, and that's why I'm generally being like, who the hell's Ali here? You mentioned it multiple times.
You don't even
I hope
know.
you guys would clarify this. He actually was like, hey, I agree with you being deplatformed. I don't agree. I empathize with you.
And then he comes in with the personal attack.
Well, I think that's just
no, it's not
how
personal.
people debate.
Hey.
But
That absolutely is a personal attack, especially if you have no evidence.
That's
so
not
what's the point here, though, guys, gentlemen?
I just find it rich that, you know.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. We're just here talking, right? We're doing a podcast. I don't know. We're just saying stuff. And like in Germany, let me tell you a little bit about Germany. My wife is so happy in Germany.
What? No, that you're doing this, Nick, because I think
Doing
that,
what?
Nick, in your Telegram group, you've extensively made the joke that you're using comedy as a cover to shield you, that these people are all stupid. They don't figure out what you're doing, but you know what you're doing. And I think Michael was right.
What am I doing?
Okay, there you go. Yeah, say
You're
what
really
he's
actually
doing.
pushing hate and bigotry, man.
Which is what? Hate against whom?
Definitely towards Jewish people.
In what way? I just got done saying I have Jewish friends.
Pearl is my friend. I was on Pearl's show. Did you see when Pearl got attacked on Piers Morgan?
I did, yeah.
And if you looked at Pearl's Twitter, she literally put a Jewish guy on her Twitter and said, "I can't wait to have you back on the show." I made jokes on women for about 2 hours, 3 hours straight in London a month ago, and she laughed.
That's great. How am I pushing hate?
Hold on, and she laughed. So when she made a
Pin him
song
down,
about
Nick.
the
Pin him
Jewish
down.
people,
Which we have. We'll play the clip.
I said, okay, fine. I mean, just like Chappelle made jokes about Jewish people. I said, fine. But I think, you know, to Pearl's credit, she's here making songs that I found offensive, but I supported her freedom of speech.
Well, why was that offensive?
Yeah.
Why was that song offensive?
Well, let's play the clip and we can have this conversation. Did you want to weigh in before we play the
I
clip?
just want to say one more thing.
Well, don't go off topic because we're going to go to this
Well,
clip.
but can I defend myself a little bit?
I mean,
How about this, guys?
See, that is where you'd be like, yeah, just go into the clip. I don't know what this loser is talking about. Well, I need to defend myself. Guys, I swear. I really promise, I swear that I wasn't doing that. Methinks. Protest too much.
I'm on your guys' show. When can I play the clip that we're talking about
We
here?
have 5 minutes.
When can I play the clip that we've teed up?
Can we
That
put it-
you guys are literally discussing. You guys tell me how to run my show.
We'll let you know.
How do
I'm
you
gonna take a smoke break
How do
real
you
quick.
claim that you are
Okay.
not sexist? And look, I'm not a feminist by any means, believe me. But how can you claim that you're not sexist when you say comments and you mean them like women should not go to college? Is that not
What does sexism mean to you?
Would the average person or the average female, Republican, Democrat, black, white, green, blue, who has gone to college, would they be offended by something like that you believe? I'm not saying you should.
Okay, can we stop having people on live podcasts that can't speak on live podcasts? This whole frame, we need to get rid of both of them. I don't know what any of them think, and I don't care.
Shouldn't say it. You have the right to say it.
I know.
But is that not what you is that not offensive?
Okay.
Oh my God.
What does that mean? Offensive? When I say that women should be mothers instead of go to college, how does that offend you?
No, you said women shouldn't go to college, and we talked about education.
That's what I just said. You're
But then
living
I
proof of why
said-
women shouldn't go to college. Let me just tell you that.
I'm living proof why women shouldn't go to college.
Yeah.
That was good. Got him.
Wait.
Because
If you don't want the
These
personal
lads-
attacks,
What
then
if
don't give
I-
the personal.
what
If
if
you
I
don't want the
said-
personal attacks, then don't give the
What if
personal
I
attacks.
said-
being
what if
If you
I
don't want the
said-
personal attacks, then don't give the
What
I'm
if
personal
I
being
said that
personally
you're
attacked.
living
You've been
proof?
paying attention.
What
Oh,
if
shit, no,
I
I have.
said that?
Catalina, Nick,
what if-
go ahead.
Michael,
What
have a
if,
conversation.
what if I said that you were living
Unbelievable.
proof why
Because I
women
just
shouldn't
said-
stay home and raise
You
children?
asked me.
Because
You said
clearly
it's offensive.
you were kind of raised a little weird at this
You
point.
said it's offensive.
Hey, shout out to SMD. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. SMD, welcome to the party. Said big support, Indian Jesus. We love your Nick reactions. I don't know what a Nick reaction is. I'm stupid sometimes. Stupid. Thank you, and welcome to the party.
Offensive. And I said, what's offensive about saying women should stay at home and raise families instead of go to college? And you said, that's not what you said. You said women shouldn't go to college.
You did say that. That can be taken
And I'm saying,
in
how's
a
that
million
offensive?
other ways.
I'm saying, how's that offensive?
If you go back to what he said, he was correlating the two and saying the reason why they shouldn't go to college is
Right.
because he believes in reinstilling those values.
Well, just let me answer. How's that offensive?
So if I've been out of college for now 10 years and I'm still not married with children, how is that?
How
How
is
did
it
me going to
offensive?
college impact not having a family?
Because you were spending your time at college instead of looking for a family. I'm sure you got ran through, honey. Come on, let's not play games here. You were not looking for a husband while you were in college. You were focused on getting your bag, being a boss bitch. Let's not play games.
And
Well, you don't have a family.
right. So how did that impact? How did me going to college? And then you talk about God and you're God fearing. What about God?
That's not a question. How does that? And then you talk about God. That's not a question, ma'am. You need to finish your sentences. That's what I'm saying. This whole frame, both of these just need to get out. What are we doing here? Yeah, exactly. And Nick's like, has he made any actual points in his favor, or did I just miss in the babble? Nope, nothing. Opus says, I think generalizations that start with women should start with women should, or men should, or black people should be avoided in general. Yeah, I mean that's probably a good rule of thumb. Generalizing like that is probably not a good idea. But that being said, there absolutely are generalizations that are that can be made, and I'm not specifically talking about anything he's talking about, but that doesn't. We can talk about what is the probability of how people's lives will work out without being directly offensive. And I think Nick's point here is that he's trying to do that, and she may be offended by it, but he's not, being malicious in that specific thing, in that specific saying women should not go to college. That is not being malicious. He's just, he has a different opinion. And you may think that that is sexist or whatever, but it's not malicious. You just disagree.
God's role in finding a partner? What about God's timing? What about those things?
I'm asking you simply
So-
because you said it's offensive. How is what I said offensive?
You said that women should not go to college
I know. How is that offensive?
because women, if they want to go to college, should want to go to college. They should be able
But
to
what-
go.
If they want to go to college, they should want to go to college.
What?
You mean if they want to go to college, they should go to college. Stan says, Obis, let's flip it around. All men should not go to college. They should stay home and work on getting a family. Does that make as much sense? Especially given women carry and bear the child and then need at least 2 or 3 weeks. In America, yeah, it's a couple weeks to recover after said bearing of child. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what your point is either. I think Opus is just saying, like, you know, generalizations tend to bring in people to what you're generalizing that don't fit. And even though that generalization may be an accurate generalization, I don't think it's always productive for the purposes of the conversation that you're having.
How does that offend
Correct me if I'm wrong, Opus.
people? Why is that offensive?
You don't think that would be offensive to women? If
No, that's why he's asking you. Just say it. What is wrong with the outside of the room where they can't just say what they think? You don't think it's offensive? You think maybe it could be offensive? Maybe if it would be offensive and I could be offensive, it would be offensive. How about you just say, I think it's offensive because you are treating women like they are not as smart as men.
Well, you're
if
answering a
somebody
question with a
said-
question. You said it. How is it offensive?
Because it's people should be able to pursue what they want to pursue, and
And you can believe
you're
that, but
basically
it's not
saying
offensive.
Can I-
you're basically saying that women shouldn't be
Can I try
educated.
to
if
try
they
to sell
want-
this real quick? And it's just a disagreement of beliefs. What she's saying is a woman's right to be educated has some place in weight versus her ability to have children. And what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, which is if she gets educated, the likelihood of her putting off childbirth is there. So it's one of these things: 6 dozen, 1 half, 6 and 1, whatever. I'm fucked up. Sorry. One of the situations here is when you say this, what you find offensive is the concept of him saying that you can't have children and that this is pushing it back and you should have the choice. And what you're saying is that shouldn't be offensive at all because you're just making a statement and that's your opinion. That's it.
And
Because otherwise you guys are just going to keep saying the
Yeah,
same
by
thing.
the way,
over
guys,
Yup.
here's the deal, because we're going to move on. Here's the deal. Here's what I think. You think that women shouldn't go to college. Yes?
yeah,
You think that women should go to college.
do whatever they want to
Here's
do.
what I'll say. I think that women should 1,000,000% have the freedom to choose what they want to do with their life.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think that women should put a way bigger priority on having more family values, motherhood, and being a good wife and being a good mother than being a boss babe.
So,
But at the
Right.
same
So there's a
time,
middle ground.
at the same time,
You'll
you know,
agree.
if they choose to not have kids and not have a family, I've argued with Chelsea Handler online about this. That's their choice to their detriment.
well,
That's my opinion.
so I think
So-
I think
Get him, guys. Get the mansplainer.
there's a middle ground. But I think one of the other things is like you said before, you want men and women.
And notice how, you know, technically you could call that mansplaining. But it resolved the miscommunication, did it not? So maybe men are just better at logical communication.
As teenagers to get married and start
yeah,
having children.
absolutely.
You want them as teenagers to start having babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, you said you would actually
And
marry.
now it's back to this personal attack.
No,
another
no, but Nick,
drive-by.
you
Let's
did.
hear it.
Nick, you said you were ready that you would one day marry a teenage girl, and that actually makes sense because, you know, you
Are you
look
gonna
like
call me
a
a
teenage
pedophile
boy
again?
that would probably molest himself.
Okay. And there it is again with the personal attacks. Maybe this is a reason for anti-Semitism, I think.
I disagree, but damn, you can't set them up like that.
Well,
Why?
this
Because you're a
what-
very obnoxious person. I came here respectfully polite, and you're coming on here with personal attacks, drive-by shots.
You're getting the defensive
Because
again
it's
about the
totally
child
Yeah, but-
porn and the
okay.
I
homosexuality.
came here for a debate, and
Yeah,
you come
well-
on here saying I look like a teenager, and this is not.
Well,
professional.
guys,
I mean, you do
and
look like you have a micro
You're-
penis.
Okay.
Okay,
And there
guys,
it is.
Yeah, but that's-
here's what we're
yeah,
gonna do
that's
here.
Really, bro? Really? Talk about sign language. Well, who hurt you? Oh, you got a tiny penis, bro. Like, you have the smallest balls. What even is going on? Yeah. I used to. How dare you assume that I intended to make sense, sir?
Guys, here's what we're gonna do here. Let's keep this high level.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's super high
No,
level.
meaning let's keep it high level. And
I
what I'll say
respect
is
you. I
let's
respect you, Nick.
avoid
I'm
the
sorry.
personal attacks.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
you're not
I agree with
What
that.
I will say is
stop saying you respect me because
Nick, it's
you
just
don't.
comedy. Nick, it's just sensational.
But that's
There it
fine.
is.
But what I will say is like, you did also go to like, I don't give a fuck what this guy is. He's just a brown dude. I don't know, whatever. I don't care if he's
I
Jewish
don't know
or
who
not.
he is either.
So but that's my point.
I know
You
he's
went
Jewish,
to the
though.
lowest, like, well, maybe that's why people don't like Jews. Like,
After they call me
I
a
get it.
pedophile.
I get it.
Nick, you
and
straight
that
up
was low class on his
Okay.
end. But that's like if you did something that I didn't agree with. I'm like, you know, those fucking Catholics
This is a
again.
great
Like
show.
that.
This is a great show.
Adam, Nick,
Guys, here's what we're gonna do.
Nick,
Here's what we're gonna do.
You're
Adam,
right.
Adam,
On the
go
Zoom
ahead.
call
Adam,
before, you're
Nick,
right.
Nick,
All right, here's you know what? I was gonna say something, but I'm just gonna do a poll, and I think I know.
can you at least address this? You literally said that the entire country of India smells like shit.
That's true. It does smell bad. You're going to tell me Delhi doesn't smell bad? They got 1.5 billion people, and they're all crammed together on one train. It doesn't smell bad?
It's true. Shout out to Habitat Farm. Welcome to the party. Said saying women shouldn't go to college is the kind of crap Nick Fuentes would say. No, that's the kind of stuff Nick Fuentes does continue to say. This really is some archaic nonsense. Let's make America more like Afghanistan. Then the Jew stuff. F this guy. I completely agree. The whole reason that we are even paying attention to this is because they are paying attention to him and people pay attention to them, and this message is being spread. And so if we're not aware of it, then we are lost. So hopefully you will stick around and see exactly why we are doing what we are doing. Either way, welcome to the party.
It's the curry.
Come on, man.
With spices.
It's spices.
What's good for the goose
It is the curry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just-
Hey, Nick,
And I'm playing
We're about
into
to
it
get to
a little
super
bit.
chats.
Nick,
By the
I-
way, everyone, we're about to read super
But-
chats
no, but
in
that's not
30
cool.
seconds.
Nick, I totally agree with you. No personal attacks. I want to do that. But I'm just thinking, like, when I was 24 years old, I didn't enlist to the U.S. military until I was 26, and I didn't have my life figured out. And I'm trying to have empathy for your situation because you've made some pretty life-altering decisions before you're 25 years old, right? There's certain things that I'm sure, I don't know if you wish you could take back, but you're getting a lot of heat, right? And this is going to probably follow you for the rest of your life. You'd agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, you mentioned before there was a possible potential offer for you to work for the Daily Wire. You were a fan of Ben Shapiro, and then all of that was taken away. And I was just me. I'm speaking anecdotally. Maybe you can say the same thing, Adam, if this has been your experience. In my early 20s, I was very impressionable, much more so than I am now at 45 years old. Much more so now than I am as a military veteran. I was very impressionable. Do you think that like the
This is Mike, by the way, who's talking right now.
extreme
And this is not the girl that I was talking about. She just didn't say much.
nature to which you go from one end to another?
So again, replay gang, we have another poll. Who looks the best from this show? Who looks the best from this show? The options are Nick, Mike, the guy in the black shirt who's talking now, the girl who's sitting next to the bald guy, or the bald guy. Let me know in the comments below.
May have had like
Here, let's make sure we get what he's saying in full. You know,
in your experience. In my early 20s, I was very impressionable, much more so than I am now at 45 years old. Much more so now than I am as a military veteran. I was very impressionable. Do you think that like the extreme nature to which you go from one end to another may have had like an extreme impact on you, and maybe some overcompensation that happened because I can't imagine being the age you were to have that level of opportunity taken from you? Do you think that that could have like an extreme impact on your opinions?
No, because I can tell you precisely how I get from one point to another.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing is
You
a lot
think-
of people, whenever somebody has views like me, which are so contrary to the establishment, they say the only reason a young person or an intelligent person could go against the system is because, well, obviously something is wrong with them, you know, or they're,
No,
hang on,
okay.
or, you know, something personal happened
Sure.
to them, or, you know, in other words, that it came from something other than inquiry. But in my case, like I said, I was a person who, I mean, I was really huffing the propaganda from Daily Wire and PragerU and all these groups. And then I realized I wasn't getting the full story. I realized there was a totally different angle to it. And
I mean, here's the thing. I can totally understand that notion. The idea of, hey, I'm getting my information from here, and this is not right. There's something else. And unfortunately, it's had to happen to me twice, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time because, you know, we continue to learn about how we learn. But, you know, it started off with, obviously, religion. That was not my bag. Then, you know, I went on and I was doing stuff. Then I was like, okay, time to get into politics. I'm going to be, you know, a responsible voter. I'm going to not only watch CNN and MSNBC, but I'm also going to watch Fox News so I know everything that's going on. And then that led to a vote for Hillary Clinton.
Hurrah!
And I know, it's wrong. But the point is that I can commiserate with the idea that, hey, I have this all figured out. And then you realize, wait a minute, these people that I was treating as an authority don't really know shit, or worse, are purposely lying to me. That will definitely, turn you off. MJ says the only person that is best to me is the lady that's sitting to Nick's right, the one that didn't talk as much but has great facial expressions. Well, she's not part of the question. Sippy said, you mean the one that cannot finish a sentence, or the smart lady next to the man in the black shirt? Pretty sure she means this one.
And like I said, it was my inquiry into that topic, which is why that was taken off the table in the first place. And I'll tell you just a quick example.
All right, one more. I'm waiting for one more vote, guys. We're going to end it in one more vote. If you want to address it, then now's your time.
In December 2016, this is really a big part when it started. They were calling Obama anti-Semitic because he instructed our ambassador to the UN to abstain from a Security Council vote condemning Israel's settlements in the West Bank. And I said, how is it they're calling him anti-Semite? They're saying he hates Jews because he instructed a diplomat to abstain.
Come on, give me a sec. Hold on. Struggle streaming
From a vote, which, by the way, is our official policy. It's our official policy since 1967 that we think the civilian settlements are illegal, which is what the UN was condemning. So we were doing something consistent with our policy, and yet roundly in conservative circles, they said, well, he hates Jews. He did that because he hates Jews. And I said, wait a second, I don't like Barack Obama. I don't
They
like
do
him
that
as
for
much as the
every
next guy.
president, though. Biden's catching heat with Netanyahu, Trump, even though he moved the embassy from
Tel Aviv to
Tel Aviv to
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Yet his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, his wife, is like,
Is that true? Is that a constant thing that every president gets called anti-Semitic? Again, this is just I have never tapped into this world where people honestly think, and maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm willing to learn. But this world where the Jews run the world, I don't see it. All right, so we got our 10 votes. Real quick, let's say hello and welcome Zog to the party. Welcome to the party. So it'd be interesting to hear a video of your overall impressions and thoughts on Nick. You have an interesting perspective as a first-generation American, similar to myself. Well, lucky you. As soon as they're done, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on exactly what you are asking for. So welcome to the party, another first-generation America. Yes, who looks the best from this show? Interpreted as whatever you think looks the best, whatever you think looks means. 60% out of 10 votes. So 6 of you said Nick, 3 of you said Mike, and 1 of you said the talkative girl. Just put it out there. Oh, you're a first-generation American too? Hey, shout out to all the immigrant parents. What is good? So Ayush says yes. This is a way to keep the Israel out of scrutiny. Okay. Opus agrees. Israel is an extremely tough subject, and we would be better served if we just stay out of it because nothing we do is ever right. Sounds right to me. Without knowing anything more than you guys are telling me, I mean, I know a little bit more, but basically knowing nothing more than what you guys are telling me, this sounds right. Stay out of it. Opus says stop supplying Israel Iron Dome and also stop commenting on what happens halfway around the world.
Bingo.
I'm with that. Zippy says if they scrutinize Israel or Ukraine, they would then scrutinize America. Yeah, yep. Daniel says, hey man, quit beating yourself over Hillary. It's just it genuinely is. Despite the fact that I was a drug addict for years, it genuinely is. I don't think I've done many shameful things in my life, but it genuinely is the most shameful thing I've ever done. And I'm not beating myself up over it, but it is what it is. If I could take back one thing, it would be that. There was nothing behind that. At least being a drug addict, at least I learned about life. At least I learned about hardship. I talked about how my daddy's a doctor and sent me to college for free. Like, I needed some hardship in my life. Hillary didn't do nothing. But let's continue. Daniel goes on to say, first, I'll say you weren't the only one. Second, your vote for Hillary and others, people's vote for Bernie is what gave Trump the win. Fair enough. That is a good point. Splitting the vote allowed him to win. So I'm gonna put that in my hat. Thank you, Daniel. I needed that. Zuby says the U.S. needs to leave the Middle East. We need to do everything. Leave everything. Worry about America. Clean your room. Okay, you need to clean your room, or we're all gonna be acting like the lobsters in the bucket. Okay, it's like no. That's my favorite line. Whenever he says, he always does that. Jordan Peterson. He'll be like, people think it's like this. Well, it's like no. Okay, that's not how it is. Sorry. Anyway, MJ said, no U.S. scrutinizing. I didn't make my bed today. Hey, clean your room. I never make my bed. I love getting into a bed that is not made. A made bed feels like it's somebody else's bed. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. That's how I do. Uncle says you can keep beating yourself over Hillary. As long as you aren't beating your mate over Hillary, we are good. I swear that is not happening. Subi says, I voted for Bernie. I wanted the White House to shut down. I was a Bernie bro. And that is not nearly as shameful. I wouldn't be a Bernie bro. I wouldn't be what were you talking about? 2016 Bernie. I wouldn't be in favor of 2016 Bernie today. But that is not something I'm ashamed of. That's just, again, part of the growing up that I had to do. If we leave Japan, we need some help to bulk them up some. We definitely will. Obama, George W. Every president's going to get all sorts of allegations. We know that.
Right, but the point is, as I said,
yep.
How is this any different from when somebody gets called racist for saying something that isn't really racist? Mm-hmm. How is it different from being called Islamophobic for saying something that's not what, all
Nick,
the other things?
Let me ask you straight up, because we're going to Nick, let me ask you, and then we move on. I'm going to let you answer this. Ready? Here we go.
They're literally like children.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Soscast. Are you a racist?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you anti-Semitic?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Are you Islamophobe?
Yes.
Do you hate gays?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any single individual group you hate more than others?
Yes.
No. I love all people.
Do you think? Do you hate black people?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think India smells?
That I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. And that's what we'll go with. All right.
Hey guys, I'm Indian. I'm telling you, there was legitimate insecurity as a child not being white because the other Indian kids in my neighborhood and in my school smelled like curry all of the time. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It smells. Where are we? Yeah, MJ, I agree. We got another one. Daniel voted for Hillary. Get him, guys. Wait, see, Melty's
Crush his skull. Thank you.
Melty's not here. He's the one who wanted me to get that sound effect. Ashamed after they selected Biden. Yeah, he just folded in this last one. Mike W says American soldiers should only defend American soil. Absolutely, guys.
The curry.
At this point, we will read
I don't know what BTFO means.
our super chats.
Back the fuck up.
Thank you for being here.
Back the fuck up.
Thanks for taking the heat. Thanks for everyone being here. Let's keep it classy like Ron Burgundy. Nat, Hooked on Phonics, work for Nat.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you. Lovely. Catalina. I don't know why the hell you went to college, girl, but we'll figure that out later.
Good question.
Catalina, that's her name.
Yeah, actually. Well,
Should have done hair.
Nick, you and I probably agree on a
Well,
lot.
hold on.
you
We
say
do,
I should have
but
done
you're
hair.
attacking me.
Jewish. No,
All right,
I'm
Natalia-
Jewish, but you probably agree
Super
with me.
chat.
on
We
that.
do. I
went to
realized that at
college.
the
I'm not
beginning.
the bad guy
Guys,
you
We're
think I
gonna
am.
read
man.
the super
Just-
chat.
Just keep attacking.
Just in
Guys,
case.
guys.
I'm not the
Let's
bad
just
guy you think I
read
am.
the
Alright.
super chats.
I don't
True.
know you.
By the way, for those of you just joining us,
Yes.
we got Nick, we got Amy, we got Michael, we got Catalina, we got Alpha King Nima. This is a unique show. We're having a discussion, high level. We got Malik, 1s and 2s. Boom,
Malik.
quick camera shot. Hey, Malik, he's here. Nat's here.
Hi.
We're not doing the live chat today. If you would like to make comments, questions, anecdotes, stories, or simply donate some money to the show.
We love it.
We're only doing super chats. This is Nat's portion of the show
Here we go.
where she can show that learning to read has worked out well for her.
All right, get my reading skills together. Well, thank you guys all for the super chat.
All right, so let me know if you guys are interested in this. I think that there might be, because it's Nick, we might have some interesting things here, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys. JH said, we moved to a house that was owned by an Indian family, and I have never smelled another house with such strong, strong food smells. It is what it is, guys. You can be mad, but it is what it is. The nights I cried. Oh, can't I just be a white person? Little did I know, it was mainly because I was short, not because I was Indian. But I mean, you learn, you live and you learn. Zippy says, if he is consistent on the hate, if he is consistent on hate, the sin, not on, if he is consistent on hate the sinner. Zippy, you see what you're doing to me? This is written well, but you've messed my brain up. Okay, third time's a charm. If he is consistent on hate the sin, but not the sinner, there we go, then he can become he can be seen as a racist / sexist, etc. But feels like it's an excuse to be bombastic. I agree. How many votes do we have? 7 votes. Give me 1. Oh, it's not gonna matter. All right. So as requested, Zog says, I would be interested to hear your overall impressions and thoughts on Nick. So my overall thoughts on Nick. I think the majority of what we see from Nick is the fact that he is young. The response of being young, being online, being part of the Zoomer attention economy. That is what I see. I see somebody who is trying to grab onto something, and this is what worked for him, and so he ran with it. There's no other reason that you would continue to be this type of bombastic person, to use Zippy's word. There's no reason to continue being this bombastic if you are learning more about the intellectual academic parts of what your points are, because you don't need to. You can be bombastic to get people to start looking at you, and then you have the actual arguments that will keep the people around. So if you don't have those arguments, then all you have is the circus. So at this point in time, he is he is just playing the clown. Do I know whether he has some legitimate views? I don't know. He might not. He seemed to be pretty on point about the male and female dating stuff. But he's also a Christian virgin. So what do I know about what he thinks? He said some of the right things here, but I don't know. So all that to say, I think Joe said this is going to be the year of Fuentes. So if that is true, we will definitely see over the next few months how that happens, because he's already, he's already had an uptick. So we've seen that he is not going to fold under the pressure of just being seen a lot, but he has had that dip. And so now he realizes that he has to play somewhat to the audience, especially with his, again, bombastic style of rhetoric and all that stuff. So where is it? The one last thing I want to address, Opus. Gotta hard disagree on this. Says we put Nick in the same category as Howard Stern. He's a shock jock. Maybe. The difference is that Howard Stern has always been a corporate plant. He was a corporate plant of the edgy comedy in the 90s or the 80s, whenever he started. But that never changed. They were trying to set the terms of the Overton window. Whereas, and again, I'm not saying this is better or worse for either of them. Both of them are fucking losers. But the Fuentes is going against the establishment, whereas Howard Stern sets the limit to the establishment. Everything Howard Stern says is fine, but anything past that is whoa. But if Howard Stern said it, it's okay, because he is one of them. Don't forget, he was all about the mandates. He is not, he is no longer a shock jock. He was a shock jock, but again, he was their shock jock. He was the plant that says, okay, we'll let this crazy, crazy stuff go on so it doesn't go all the way left. And, I wish that we were, that was the worst that we had. But yeah, he is on another level. Mike says, I had Indian neighbors. The whole neighborhood smelled like curry when they cooked. It is what it is. Jay said Destiny had some deep dives. He's good with words and have to press hard to get to specifics. That is a huge goal of mine. I'm already in his Discord server. I'm gonna probably just pay to be like in the top tier to just get in. That's like a business expense. That will happen sooner than later. We do have a very, 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 very special guest that you absolutely will love, who is not a friend, who is like somebody legit. But I don't want to say the name because they've already rescheduled on me once. So when it's for sure, you'll see it. But the like I said, guys, as much as anybody else is playing the game, as much as Fuentes is here playing the game, I'm here doing the same thing. I have my message that I want to send out to the world. I have my message that Opus knows who it is. No telling. And there has to be a way for me to look to the future. And it's not just about sitting down and saying the things that I think. That's a big part of it. But planning this, understanding perception, thinking about how would I be in these types of types of panels. All of this is very important to this channel growing, and this channel growing is very important to the message that I have being pushed out to the world. So and it's not anybody else's responsibility for that to happen but me. But if you guys do want that message to be pushed further, it's not that I don't love hanging out with you guys. I get mushy all the time hanging out with you guys. But 15 people, 20 people in a stream is not going to make a living. So please share this everywhere you can. Everywhere you can. Let's get this party popping. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Big shout out to Unwanted Foe. And also, well, I don't have anything to pull up, but shout out to Cerberus for all the gifted memberships. Big shout out to Zippy the Strange for bypassing YouTube's taking my money. And of course, MJ, who has been the sponsor of Morty's Neck and Belly Rub all night. I watch you. Thank you guys so much. It really does warm my heart when you guys are not only willing to spend time with me, but you're actually willing to not only even engage with the conversation, but part with your hard-earned money. It means so much to me, and it's necessary. I wish it wasn't. I wish there was no need for me to need money to do this. I wish. But that's not the case. And I love so much that you guys see what we're doing, that you guys are part of the community. Guys, we're doing it. So let's just keep on going and keep on going into the after party. If Ahmad can drop the link to the Discord, we are heading right over to the after party right now. Plus, we're in there 24/7 having conversations. We got games going, always doing stuff. So come and join us. Thank you again so much for hanging out with me. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, thank you. I am out of here. Peace.